Okay, I don't know if you all can hear me. Can you all hear me? Can everybody hear me? I need a thumbs up. Yeah, good morning. There you are. All right, because I didn't put any music in, and we're waiting to go live into the courtroom. Michael Bryant, I think I put into the chat there. He saw Julie Hess come in, and then when I put in, he saw the alien had just arrived. So he's been outside the courtroom. He's been waiting to see whether or not he can grab any interviews, but it's hard on the way in. Good morning, everybody. So we do have two streams that we can choose from. Joy has Boston 10 up, possibly, and also Amanda Law Girls Not Attorneys also is in court as a streaming service. Excuse me. Allergies today. Pollen count is high in New York. We've gone from 30 degrees 2 days ago to 84 degrees today. So I'll let you know if anything else. I think Joy is monitoring the Boston 10 feed, although I don't see it here, Joy, in my below. I don't see your Boston 10 below, so that I'm not quite sure what. There it goes. Well, that's Law Girls Not Attorney we see, and she just got a picture. I should show you this. Okay, I should show you this. This is I'm just going to add this to the stage because this is what Amanda has put up. And our own Michael Bryant, as you know, was the one who first said the alien, and it just caught on. But look at this. Let me add this to the stage. I have to remove the other media. Hold on. Okay, let me remove the other media. Hold on a second. Just bear with me as I move the comments. Very, very, these things are very tacky, not tacky, but they're very interesting how StreamYard does. Look at this. Look at that. Look at Amanda with her Law Girls Not Attorney. She has actually put, I don't know if we're going to carry her this whole, she's actually put a picture of the alien up there. Okay. I don't know if she AI'd it with Justin or just has a picture, but it's hysterical. So, it hasn't gone live yet. As Michael Bryant had predicted, when these things happen, that he'd be surprised if they do anything before 9 o'clock. And last time they were so disorganized, they didn't do anything until 9:30. Good morning, everybody. But while we're waiting for Boston 10 to see who has the better sound, we'll just keep that up a second. Or we can put, of course, our picture up. I'm playing around with this while you're here in the morning and all. So again, because it's a little bit tough in terms of sharing on YouTube, I have to remove that, and then I can add this, and that's Kelsey One Step Closer live from Salem. There we are. Okay, Michael in his mobile studio, a picture of the mobile studio, and we don't have mobile studio written on the side of it, but we decided in AI we could add it. So hold on a second. Let me tell you, I'm getting text right now from Michael Bryant. If my phone were working well, that's another thing. All right, Michael says, and this is from him directly, nobody in court but us. Kelsey case, only case after a quick Zoom case. So, in other words, it says that we're probably going to be sharing that. We're going to be on pretty soon. Okay, so let me just put that, nobody in court but us. All right, I'm going to put that into the chat from Michael. Okay, so maybe what I want to do then is take off. Well, no, I'll leave this on until we know that we're going to actually go live in court, because no one seems to be streaming, and not even Boston 10 right now. So, but we have Michael Bryant on speed here. I have to tell him that my husband had to leave this morning, 6:30 for Chicago to testify. So it's been a busy morning in our household. I haven't had even a chance to set up my office or have any breakfast. So I want all of you to eat well, eat protein, make sure you're eating well. Have some protein for me, if you would, okay? Because I don't want you to just be here waiting and not do anything. So keep your sound on. but let's see. Yes, but it's going to be an interesting day. This is another restraining order and all. So Bradel, I haven't seen him. I don't know if Michael says, and I'll ask him if Bradel here. He did see Julie Hess go in, but I think Bradel was handling the restraining order, and Julie Hess is going to be there. And Bradel, is he there? Is there? And I will put this. This is exactly, I'm texting him because I know he told us when Julie Hess went in. So, and she's supposed to be handling the one later on that's going to be dealing with that motion that we're waiting for Kelsey's responsive motion papers to those motion papers that I'll say the alien put in, but it sounds it's more like the alien's family had put in. So I don't expect the restraining order today to be as shall we say, what's the word I'm looking for? Entertaining, but it really, as yesterday. Thank you. And people are eating egg and avocado wrap for protein. Perfect, perfect. That's exactly what I would normally try to have, an egg or avocado wrap. Or I've discovered these great vegan bars, the protein bars. This one is a vanilla almond crunch. It's called Aloha. I don't know if you can see it. Aloha bars. One of them they make is like a Girl Scout cookie. It is delish. All right. And it packs protein. How much protein is in this on this bar? Let's see. Wish it would tell me. Oh, here we go. 14 grams of protein. Okay. So 0 cholesterol. So that's really good. So I just discovered these from my vegan friends up in the Catskills. And they really are absolutely delicious. But avocado and egg, that seems to be the popular thing. And sourdough. Yes, that's exactly what I was eating last night. Yeah, here we are. Nothing is happening, I'm gathering. Michael Bryant is now texting me again. Let's see. Ryan, Julie's partner, is there. Okay, so I don't think he did see Julie. I must have misunderstood. No Bradel, Kelsey here, family here. Okay, I'm going to put that into our chat. I'm going to put that into our chat. Okay. Okay. And I'm putting that into our chat, and then I have to just go off for a second. Okay, now if you wanted to listen to that, that was me. My husband told me that he's at the airport. He came through in LaGuardia Airport, no lines, no problem. And he's seated waiting for his plane to go. So that's good. So Michael Bryant says, we're setting up to stream if no Boston station arrives. So that's what's going on. I think he's helping. I don't know. Are we setting up like we Justice Serve TV or like Amanda and you? Find out. This is how you're seeing how we're doing our production meeting right in front of you. Because last time it was really chaotic up there. They told Michael Bryant he would be the streamer, but they didn't tell him until like 10 minutes before, even though we had put in to be the streaming service. So we're not sure exactly, but there doesn't seem to be any Boston media there. That's really interesting. So and maybe the clue is Julie's partner Ryan is going to be handling this. Okay. So thank you. Let's see what's going on here. All right. So yeah, we're monitoring everything that's going on as soon as there is some feed, and there isn't any feed right now. So as I said to Michael Bryant, I said, are we setting up like Justice Serve TV is setting up to be the streamer? Or are we helping Amanda, or are we doing it jointly? You know how normally one of us does the cameras and one does the microphones, but it doesn't appear that any Boston media is there, okay? That's what Michael Bryant said. We're setting up to stream if no Boston station arrives. All right, so that's what's going on. Okay, and it'd be both of us. It'd be both our channel and Amanda's channel. So we'll see what's happening. You're getting it right hot off the presses, hot off my phone, as you can tell. Now, this is on the restraining order. Now, the judge can do anything on this, as we said. I mean, it's just whether, I mean, it just may be she'll continue it. Bradel is not there, according to Michel Bryant. Bradel is not there, according to Michel Bryant. So he says that it is, I'll say it again, Ryan, Julie's partner is there. Okay. So again, he says also no Boston media is there. That's why they're setting up the stream right now. And we had, as I said, we had put in for it yesterday as because we're authorized under Rule 119 in Massachusetts. So we'll see what's happening. But they were doing a smaller case first, and then they were going to go to a bigger case. Okay, but Kelsey is here and the family is here. Okay. There's a Zoom case going on right now in that courtroom, according to Michel Bryant. A Zoom case going on right now. Yes, I see that you're absolutely correct. That I remember Bradel saying that he was doing the restraining order and Julie would be doing the motion, but we haven't seen him yet. That doesn't mean he's not there. And excuse me again, I have allergies, pollen already out the kazoo, and I haven't even been outside yet. So we'll see what happens with that. So how's everybody doing? So yesterday must have been tiring too. I don't know how Tim Bradel is doing all these cases, by the way. And, you know, restraining order cases, you have to be ready and you have to have your evidence ready. And I didn't watch yesterday. I couldn't watch the stream yesterday because I was actually working, you know, my regular job of being a lawyer all day. But I did understand that it was an interesting stream. You know, just as a matter of course, usually what a judge may do is continue mutual restraining orders on those type of cases until a trial. I don't know. I heard that he was pretty animated. He is a lifelong, by the way, Judge Tressler. He's never been in private practice. He was a DA for decades. And then he was, I think, the president of the Board of Parole, if I recall, in Massachusetts. And then he was appointed to the municipal court, which is part of the district court, which is where he's been. But he's never been in private practice and all. You know, but let me put it this way. I've been talking to Michel Bryant about doing a show with a lawyer I know who represented a high-profile defendant on when men have to say that they were abused, and it's not the easiest thing to do. So I hope you put whatever you think of the parties yesterday. Let's talk about the concepts a little bit, and I hope that indeed people recognize it's a very, very hard thing for men to do. And we saw that in the Johnny Depp trial, right? When he got up and testified and, you know, laid his life out bare, including all of his problems and his drug addictions and all, but said that, you know, he had to do it, okay? Had to do it. But last night we had a fabulous show on, if I do say so myself. And if you haven't looked at it, you really should, because we've learned about things that you would not believe in the buffer zone through Michel Bryant's case. We're researching whether or not we're going to put a T-shirt on with it. But there was a Law Enforcement Dimensions, a consulting company, John Sophus Sheft, Esquire, who Michel Bryant actually spoke to, put together for Dedham a manual, a handbook, basically. And part of the handbook was welcome to Loserville, Population U. Now, whether or not he put that in there or whether or not it was a meme that somebody in Dedham put in there, and then when Michel Bryant got discovery, it came in as this what was given to the police to teach them how to enforce the First Amendment zone. But can you imagine, no matter who put it in documents of how to teach the police how to monitor the First Amendment zone, and monitor is a very loose term in this circumstance, that there is a welcome to Loserville, okay? Let me see if I can take a screenshot of it, and while we're waiting here, put that in. It'd be kind of interesting for you to all see. Let me see. I'm going to move that. I'm going to bring this most recent screenshot in. All right, hold on a second, everybody. Here it is. Okay, and I'm going to add that. I've got to remove this from the stage. Okay, on YouTube is not so user friendly as I told you. And then we're going to add to the stage this. So this is our last night's show. Okay, it's a screenshot. Look at this. This is part of the handbook of instructions to the police in Dedham they were given. And in one of the pages, whether or not it was put on by the consulting firm or not, is this: welcome to Loserville, population U. I mean, come on. Come on. We have permission, Sarah Faith, to live stream. It's being set up right now. Apparently none of the Boston stations did. But you really, and talking to things that are important, I mean, you want to talk about the entertaining restraining order yesterday. This is important because this is what your police were doing, trying to get people not to exercise their First Amendment right. And basically this handbook told them, even though it had a lot of like, yeah, here's what you can do and can't do, it said, but it's up to you to enforce this, you know, and it's something that even law school people could not probably remember. It was so ridiculous. So I'm going to remove that. Take a look at last night's show when you have a chance. Right. Welcome to Loserville, population U. Okay. All right. So I'm going to remove that. I know there's been some requests for having that put on the agitator sweatshirt. And now we know from the handbook where they got the word calling Michel Bryant the agitator, because it said, you know, something about agitated people walking in the buffer zone, you know, agitated persons. So that's why they must have picked up the word of the agitator for Michel Bryant, who was just walking along the street with this big Just to Serve TV microphone and getting interviews. And then he was told he couldn't stop, so he kept walking. And then he was told he was walking too much. Remember that? April 1st, the first day of Karen Reed's trial last year. Seems like such a long time ago, but the facts are very important for future cases and all. So I am going to actually now remove that from the studio. Well, we're waiting to see, and when Michel Bryant texts me that they're set up, okay, I'm going to tell him, let me know when you are set up so we can pull you in, or you can pull us into StreamYard, or I can go to Amanda's page and bring it up, because none of the Boston media are covering it from what we can see. Okay, that's what we're just telling Michael, and hopefully he'll get that in the courtroom. So, yes. Let's see. Anybody have any questions? Let's see. Hold on. Kyle Sharkey. Thank you, Kyle. Let me just read what Kyle, hot off the presses. Kyle's the most amazing person. This was just added to the docket. Pretrial notice and order. Sent Judge Ulrich, Honorable Jennifer M.R. event. Pretrial conference, domestic and equity date, 7:15, 10 a.m. Oh, so that's remember there was a joint motion for Kelsey Fitzsimmons to move the pretrial from May to later, because the trial is not until August, and both parties thought that indeed that May pretrial was just too early. How can you have a May pretrial? We're in April right now. There's no time for discovery. So apparently that was just added. The judge, that's another judge again, right? That's a different judge, Kyle, from what I can see. Where's Judge Karen Black? But maybe that's a different court, so that's why. So that we have all different judges going on here. Wow, this is hard to keep control of here. But let me tell you that, you know, what's really sad is that Kelsey's family is there talking about supporters, right? Yeah, Kelsey's family is there for people that want to know. All right, now I'm going to take Kyle. I'm going to take you off the stage. Now we got the pretrial order. Michel Bryant is about to text me. I'm taking Kyle's comment off the stage as we go. Let's see. Let's see what Michael has here. Hold on a second. I know he's texting because I can see those three little bubbles. They're bubbling away. Nothing happening yet. Boston 10 just got there. Okay, to Joy. Boston 10 just got there. And they're giving him Ray the request. Okay. I don't know if we're giving him Ray the request, or the court's giving him Ray the request. Is not the word that Michel Bryant used. So could you, are we doing that, or is the court doing that? Okay, let's see if we can find out what's happening. Boston dead stuck in traffic. Oh my goodness gracious! I mean, Michel Bryant left from Connecticut, right? You know, 3-hour drive, and he was there on time. Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen here. So let's look. Yes, Anthony, she has a different family court attorney. Yes, Julie has, but Ryan, Julie has his partner. The family court attorneys is the one in court right now. Okay. All right. So Kyle then says, yes, that's Judge Ulrich, Lawrence Session, Appleton Street, Lawrence. So that's Judge Ulrich. That's for the pretrial conference. Rick. Lawrence. Now it's 7:15. Ulrich, Lawrence, 7:15. Okay. Okay. Now let's see. Let's look at some of your. I'm just going to go through, and I want to again thank. We thanked her last night, Georgia Cat Mom, new member. Thank you for joining us. Michael will be doing a members only, or members first, I should say, book reading of my client Jennifer Shahad's book that came out last week, which is just shooting, in terms of selling, huge, about how thinking sideways can help you in life and law, and probably chess too. It was a fascinating read when she was reading things last week, and Michael's picked out some passages he's going to read. That's 2:00 on tomorrow, 2:00 tomorrow for members first. And we thank our members. We're already up to 400 members. If you want to have a membership, there's all different levels. I think it starts at $2.99 a month. And we have such gracious givers here that many people have gotten them through a gift membership that somebody has donated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we hope that you can pay it forward if you do get a gift membership. Okay, so karma and dharma. Let me sit down at legal phrase because the judge said the phrase a lot. Well, yeah, those of us who really practice before courts that are very active in a trial, and usually that's especially in where Judge Chesler is from. It really was driving court, so to speak, and then municipal court, and then when it goes into the district court, that's very common. I mean, you're not dealing usually with attorneys of the ilk that you had yesterday. At least on Bradel, he's top level. Okay, I was reading that some of you thought that Ms. M.O., and I'll say M.O. because she's looking for a restraining order, claims that her attorney, which was different than the attorney last week, was pretty different, should I say. So let's see. Let me go through it. You're all. I want you to talk among yourselves, obviously. Okay, I want you to talk among yourselves, and your comments are going so fast, and I'm trying to keep up with Michael, and we're trying to keep up to see what's going. Okay, court. Okay, court. The court is apparently okay. The court is giving Boston 10 Ray their apparently either request or failure to put in a request. So that's what Michel Bryant has said. So maybe the court then has to, give them time to set up. So it looks like we're all trying to set up here to stream this, but wow. Let's see, look at this. Yes, Joy, our moderator, is moderating everything here. The plan is that I will stay with you, and Michel Bryant will stay with you. He'll try to get interviews when he comes out of court, like he always does. Whether or not I'm part of those interviews, you remember last time, my screen husband just turned off his screen wife. I'm just kidding you. We have a great relationship. It was really funny. It was just really, really funny. Okay. And then he'll drive back to Connecticut, and then he will do the 6:00 show with Judge Ashley Wilcott, who will give you her analysis, being a juvenile judge of the highest level for many years down in Georgia. But a lot of the concepts are the same. And Judge Ashley recently an anchor on Court TV, and we had worked with her at Law and Crime. She'll be there to do that with Michael tonight. After he drives home, I have to be with my client tonight at an event, so I won't be joining you tonight. But you're going to be in great hands. all right, especially with each other. Okay, so let's see what we see happening here. Okay, yes, good thing cleaning house. As soon as this starts, I'm actually going to go behind my Tubi app for a second and try to finish my half of my Aloha Power Protein bar. But I think everything is one thing I should check is while you're on the air, since I've been so busy running around all morning, I didn't check to make sure that I answered all of the, okay. I have to make sure I've answered all of my law stuff. Okay. And this person, I said, okay, I will change back. What we're working actually on right now, believe it or not, I'm working on an agreement. So a lot of things going on. You have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay, so other than that, there we go. This is from Michael. I have that already. All right, so let's see. All right, nothing new from Michel Bryant. Okay. I have to check both mail and my text, and Joy is monitoring Boston 10, and we'll see whether the court actually lets him set up, because I'm sure it's nothing new from them. And well, obviously everyone's trying to set up in the court hasn't done anything yet. So everyone wants the coffee to kick in. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to have my coffee. Okay, all right, let's see. South Aussie Cheryl says, Linda, I read terrible reviews about Judge Elwood for favoring one side when it comes to child custody. Judge Elwood is a lady who signed off on the initial custody paperwork for JA. I'm going to have to see how that goes then. I was hoping that it'd be Judge Mary Black dealing with all of this because she seems so terrific. But, Kelsey does have right on her side. Let's keep our fingers crossed, our toes crossed, and everything else, because she had the baby. I mean, before she got shot, she was walking the baby around. We saw her holding the baby. Everything looked fine, and then now to get the baby back, it's all these hoops. And the courts now, because these things have been raised, courts are into always the best interest of the child, but they're also into cover your ass. All right, they want to make sure that nothing happens to the child. But I think that Judge Black is going to want to start the reunification process sooner, not later, because little infants should be near their mother, whether it's on some type of limited weekly time, whether or not it's supervised, but not under the conditions that Justin the Alien wants, which is 5 hours at the center that doesn't even do 5 hours because it's just too hard. People don't usually set up 5-hour center meets, but obviously there are going to be some hoops that I think both of them are going to have to run through. And that's just my feeling is that it's going to be, both Justin the Alien and Kelsey. The court's going to run them through hoops because she wants to make sure that the baby is taken care of and being taken care of. All right. So anything else from yesterday that we want to, Yeah, Montana is a little, so Justin has to recognize that Justin instigated the shooting. The problem is that he instigated it, but somebody signed off on these restraining orders, which in all sorts of situations, all these new laws with restraining orders, one side, and then damage is done, and then the court can't get to the one side, or you have something like this happen. This was extreme. I mean, she's shot. And the court can't get to the hearing in time. And there's always, you normally find that there's a different side many times to some of these restraining orders, okay? But there's no doubt, I think, that any child psychologist is going to say that the child needs to have both parents, especially his mother, in his life and a reunification. Because remember, she's going to be a stranger to this baby. When the baby was with her 4 months, the baby was just like, wow, this is my mother, and she's holding on to me, and she could smell her and all. But the baby hasn't seen Kelsey for all this period of time. And so that face, she may not remember. That face, she may not remember. All right. So this is not just like, okay, hi, let me, you see the videos of animals running to their owners when they've been separated. This is a child who may not have the memory of her mother, and thinks that a stranger, like if I came in and held the baby, it'd probably like bawl its eyes out. The children do that with me. They like, ah, ah, So, all right. So we are monitoring everything, just so you know. Let's see. Let me look at this. This is very interesting. Let's see. This is from New Hampshire, and I assume Dogma. When I worked in New Hampshire as an advocate in the court, it was 3 days after the temporary order that the other party could respond. It was an automatic 3-day hearing. Well, that's kind of good. Here, it ends up being how many months since last June? All right, because she was shot, put in prison, put in jail. I shouldn't say in prison, put in a correctional facility. Just awful, awful. And I have to say, one of the reasons why I don't do family law, it's very important, but I have had clients where somebody will make a criminal allegation in order to get a leg up, and then admit later on involved that the allegation was made up, but they'll do it to try to alienate the baby or the child from one parent or another. And then it's very, very difficult to get that, the children are susceptible. It's very difficult, very, very difficult. To get that back, to get that reunification back. And sometimes if the child's a little older, gets really angry and wants to stay with one parent or the other. So it's a mess. But the sooner you get this child reunified, the sooner, hopefully, the child won't have any issues saying, I don't want to go back with mom. It's not going to say that. But she is going to have to reintroduce to Kelsey. We're going to have to understand that, and we're going to have to see if Judge Mary Black really can get this, and then just not do something pro forma like continue the restraining order pending the motion hearing this month, right? Continue the restraining order pending the motion hearing, or whether she can make some adjustments to the restraining order now to start the reunification now. She has all that. She can do that. Or she may punt. She may say, look, this is all being dealt with in the Lawrence court, and I'm not going to interfere right now. Here's what I would suggest, but but I'm not going to order it, blah, blah, blah. So, there's a lot of things. And so who knows? We don't know what's happening. And that's why Michel Bryant went for the drive to up to Salem, because he said that the judge could just continue the restraining order in place pending the motion, but then again things may happen, and there's nothing like also being there. And as you know, we have been there from early on in this case, supporting Kelsey Fitzsimmons. If you recall, Michel and I offered to pay out of our own pockets for any alternative testing, like urine testing and all. We wouldn't be reimbursing, but apparently they couldn't do that because that would look like there's, maybe she's doing something untoward. So I thought that the courts could have ordered that instead of placing her in a correctional institution. And we heard how it was in the correctional institution. She spent times crying on the cell with that wonderful interview she did with Aidan Carney, crying on the basement, on the floor of her cell, counting the cinder blocks. And remember, she was also being denied some treatment that her doctors had recommended, which was, some of the bullets in her back and all should come out. So, we just don't know. So I don't know. No, Judge Black is supposed to be, as you know, when we saw her last time, and when Justin was asking for half of the house to be held in proceeds for child support till the child was 18, and she basically said, "I'm giving you child support of $12 a week, all right." And she read everything from the bench. She took like 45 minutes, and people were criticizing her. What is she doing? Well, she was reading all that was just given her to make a reasoned decision, which she did. And so to me, it showed that she pays attention and she is reasoning. Okay. So again, we are trying with 10, Channel 10, Boston has just gotten approval. He's setting up from Michel Bryant. And as I said, the court, when Michel Bryant got there, Michel had approval to set up. Then Boston 10 came, and the court gave them doo-doo because they had not put in their request to stream. They had not put in the request. We put in a request yesterday as a streamer, as well, like a YouTuber, not as a legacy media channel. So he's setting up right now, and I'm hoping that Michel Bryant being there will help him with the microphones, because they don't really care, right? They put the microphones wherever they have one microphone, and it may not pick up. So I'm reporting to you that Channel 10 has now gotten approval, and he is now setting up. So Joy, that's the one we should be monitoring. Hopefully there'll be a link soon to that Boston 10. Okay. So that's what's going on. This is the delay is no fault of anybody. The parties have been there. They came in well before 8:30. Michel Bryant was outside. Okay. And what's happening is that when Boston 10 came, kind of mucked things up because they hadn't put in for approval. So then they had to put in for approval, and the court, the court does want approval to be given and have this case streamed and shared on news media far and wide. Okay. So, well, yeah, logger. We know we had the logger. We have the loggers link, but we also have our own, and that's the court. But with the court not allowing anybody to do anything yet, this is what's happening. So right now we're all in the same holding pattern. All right. They're in front of Judge Black today, Judge Mary Black. Okay. Yes. So I don't understand what type of people would want to deny a mother and grandparents the ability to see their child, but apparently it had to do with the fact that Kelsey's mom and stepdad picked up the baby at 3 o'clock in the morning, at Kelsey's direction from mom to be in law. Thank God she's not. And that led to animosity and bad blood. Instead of thinking, well, wait a second, I am their grandparents too. They should have the right to have the baby too. And since the baby was then with Kelsey, because remember Justin had moved out according to his own affidavits saying that he was not living, that he was living in Stowe, Kelsey had the child. So, and we saw that. You all saw that in great detail and all. So, oh my gosh, we don't know whether or not the restraining orders are going to be dismissed. All right, by the way, I hope that the judge does dismiss it, maybe with condition, pending the motions that are returnable within this month. As we've seen, we saw the aliens paperwork. We are waiting for Julie Hess's paperwork, which I don't think has to be filed until April 22nd. All right, until April 22nd. So, or any time before. But when it does get filed, I can tell you that even if I'm not around, Michel Bryant will be around, and Kyle Sharkey will have it, poof, just like that. All right, you can be sure about that, because Kyle is most amazing getting all these documents and sending the ones we need for that moment and all. And sometimes he'll be in the chat to remind us, it's in your inbox. It's in your inbox, okay? All right, so good morning, everybody, again. Let me start. We are up in Salem, Massachusetts, where they burned witches at the stake. I'll tell you a little. Okay, we're tapped in. Michel Bryant, this is from Michel Bryant. We're tapped in. The Boston 10 guy is finishing up as Zoom hearing continues on another matter. Yeah, get Boston 10 in, Joy. Yeah, try to share Boston 10. You can actually put both in the bottom. You don't have to until you share them. Until you share your screen, they can both be there in case one clips out. So yeah, let's get Boston 10 in. Since Michael's telling me, he's also telling me on the case that's before, there's only this one case on Zoom before, that Judge Black is very deliberate and is handling some type of dissolution with an interpreter. So, and she's extremely focused and very deliberate. So we can pull down below both Boston 10 and all, and then share whichever one we want to share at the appropriate time. So why don't we get that set up, since Michael says that. So it's only okay, so you're going to remember, okay, fine, that's fine. I can always bring law girls in if something happens with Boston 10. Let me just take a sip of my mango tea. All right. By the way, you can always tell when you have trolls on it, because if I share something from Justice Serve TV that says the alien, my personal X account gets attacked. How dare you be so unprofessional? Well, we are streamers in this capacity. I'm not acting as a lawyer. We're streamers. And Michel Bryant, because he couldn't pronounce Justin's name, said the alien, and it keeps selling. Keep an eye out, Michel Bryant says, on what's happening. Okay, so I may want to, you can only share one screen, but I'm not sharing a screen. I just want to pull it in. I want to pull in a, okay, let's see, this is, I have to open with, hold on a second. You have Boston 10 is up there. Is that the link that they're giving? Hold on, let me just text Michel Bryant. Okay, just bear with me, people. So I had to text Michael and answer this. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Michel Bryant says that he did a quick feed, and while they're still doing this, let me see if I can bring it in from our Justice Serve TV feed. Hold on. Open with Google Chrome. Michel Bryant did something on the steps of the courthouse. Okay. Let's see, 38 minutes ago. Both are posted. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can bring in this while we're still waiting. This is a good morning from Michael is saying traffic is a witchy thing this morning. I'm going to try to pull that in while we're waiting and share that with you. It's on our YouTube feed, but I think it's on our YouTube feed. He said he has one of Justin, but I don't see it. So let me see if I can share this. Okay, let me just run this. This is Michel Bryant this morning. All right, we're going to start this. We're going to start this. I'm going to start this again because this is Michel Bryant. We'll see.
I'm going to go ahead and try and figure that out. See, right where you are, JSTV TV, as we unfold this hearing for today. Hey, folks, good morning. Welcome to
I'm backing and sharing this,
Salem,
okay?
Massachusetts. Man, traffic was a bitch this morning. I'm sorry, that's never did traffic before, but if I did, this would be a bad day. So waiting for the arrivals here for the Alien versus Kelsey Fitzsimmons matter. Basically, the restraining order is what's on the table today, but we don't know what else might be decided in terms of parenting in the next 9 days before the 23rd, when the major hearing takes place. It's family court, so Judge Mary Black could audibilize. She could do a few things that might not normally be handled during the course of this scheduled hearing. We'll see. So far, no alien sightings. We'll hang out here for just a little bit longer. We do know it's going to be streamed. That information has been forwarded. You can watch it here on Justice Serve TV. And then we'll have some commentary after Linda Kenney Baden hanging out there, anchoring. So join us for that. I'm going to post this real quick, so it's kind of a primer. It should be going, again, there's a full calendar at 8:30. So it's not like the one and only case. I'm going to go up, see what cases are on the calendar, get a sense of how they're going to handle this one. This one clearly the most of interest to folks. And so sometimes they push it to the very end and get rid of all the other matters ahead of time so people don't have to, wait for the circus. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and try and figure that out. See, right where you are, Justice Serve TV, as we unfold this hearing for today. Very important step in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons journey to reunification with her son. Michel Bryant here with Justice Serve TV.
Okay, so he says he also posted another one. I'm going to look at our Twitter account with his interaction with the alien. So let's do that next while we're waiting for everyone to set up. I think we're going to probably go with, let's see, I have to open Twitter account. Let's see. Okay. Tim Bradle just arrived, by the way. Tim Bradle is there. Okay, just so you know, I'm going to give you an update. Tim Bradle is there. The courtroom is split with friends of the bride, so to speak, left side, and friends of the groom, so to speak, right side. Only Justin, his dad, and one other person on that, okay? Only Justin, his dad, and one other person is there. And the court is about to call the case. So let's see what is going on here. Let's see if we can get a feed now. So I wasn't able to post Michel Bryant's interaction with Justin, as we saw. So I'm going to stop the sharing of that. And then we should have, Joy, we should have Law Girls up ready to go. If we could, please. If you would. And if you can't, I can probably open it myself here. Open with Google Chrome. And so I am opening that. There we go. Let's pull this in. I'm going to try to share that screen. Joy, are you going to share the screen or am I? Okay. I'm going to try to add this to the stage. This is Law Girls. Okay. Oops. I added to the stage and I got unadded. Let's see. Let's see when they go live whether or not do I have sound from doing it this way. We have Boston 10 supposedly back up, but right now I'm looking at Law Girls. There we go. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. All right. So we're telling you exactly what we're doing. All right. Exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, why we're doing it. So you're getting a real look into when, we do legacy media, we were hosting on Law and Crime. We had a whole control room that did this. We just get to sit there and talk, all right? But when you are doing a streaming channel, you're doing everything. You and your mods, and Joy is in the back doing all these things, looking for different things based on what Michael's telling me and I'm telling you. And so our production meetings are kind of going on the air. But I think that gives it a sort of reality. You see that all this stuff is not so easy. When Michael Bryant and I started, oh, let's just do a streaming channel, 7 minutes a week. It'll be fun. Those are the famous last words. I will never let my streaming partner, husband, live down. Okay. All right. Everybody has, yes, Law Girls has permission. We have permission. We normally help with the microphone setup. And Boston 10 didn't apply, but then got late permission. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. Here we are here. So let's see if I can. Do you think, Joy, we can remove that side panel on the although that does have our advertisement there. Look at that. There we are as streaming. Yeah, 7 minutes a week. You're absolutely right. It's now become a whole second full-time job, as if I didn't already have a whole first full-time job. Oh, Lord. So I have to laugh. Okay, a little bit. Let me see if Michael has texted. Okay. All right. So yeah, perfect. And now we're just waiting for, yeah. Disney says Boston 10 isn't going to live stream. They're going to upload. Well, they got the approval to live stream, so, and it was late. So maybe because the court gave them shit and they weren't ready to do it and all. So, it's why we're going to stay with All Girls. Okay. Let me just tell Michael Bryant. Okay. All right. So we'll wait. We'll wait as to what is happening and all. So, everyone take a breath. You've all eaten your breakfast now. I will get to my half of my aloha bar, my other half of my aloha bar. Thanks, Dizzy. Maybe they'll upload. They didn't apply, so the judge gave them doo-doo for not applying. Then they did get approval, and he was setting up, but maybe he wasn't setting up for everything. Okay. So we'll see what is happening. Some of you are saying that my client, Aiden Carney, I represent him in one of the New Jersey actions, and I'm proud to represent him. And every time I say that, I get shit, but that's okay. All right. So here we go. All right. Let's see. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yes, if I'm not haven't said good morning to you because I know people are coming in late. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We we actually have a camera when we stream. We can set up that camera. You've seen our camera, but it's expensive for people to buy these things. So that's why a lot of streamers use their iPhones. Okay. We use our iPhone outside when we're doing interviews attached to, or as Michael calls it, the potato cam. He attaches it to this piece that like follows him around, and sometimes it just flops over like a mashed potato. Okay. Harley, glad you made it. Chris, glad you made it. Oh my God, thank you for being there. Any support for Kelsey, we think we could give. All right. And usually we tell you we don't take an opinion on these until the very end, until it's proven to us that we should have an opinion, because we want to give you information. But we've took an opinion early on this case, very early on this case. Because of Judge, I don't know if I can do what Michael Bryant does, Judge McCarthy, amen. All right, is that good enough for you? All right, let me try it again. Judge McCarthy, amen. That's what Michael Bryant would say, okay? Because I don't think he really likes her, okay? I don't think he really, really likes her. No shit, okay? All right, so let's see. So anyhow, so let's see. Any specific questions? Put like question. Okay, her counsel to confer. Okay, I have to tell Amanda that it's COUNSEL for counsel. Very easy to change it, because if you're counseling somebody, or you have a council of people, it could be like we see in Game of Thrones spinoffs. It's COUNCIL. That's something that's done all the time, and sometimes spell check will change it. All right. No, we're waiting for it to start. As Michel Bryant said, it was supposed to start at 8:30, and he told us yesterday, if you listened to our show last night, there was no way it was going to start at 8:30. They are totally disorganized, and they probably would have, excuse me, they probably would have had a case or cases beforehand, and they saved the case that's going to be the longest for the end, and that's normal in a courtroom. So, and that's exactly what happened. First of all, there was a small Zoom case that involved an interpreter, which always takes extra amount of time beforehand. There was issues, although we had been approved for streaming, law girls have been approved for streaming. We like to let law girls stream when they can. And we kind of help with the microphones and all, because we don't consider ourselves to be adversaries. We consider ourselves to be joint. As Broken Baker says, when we make a cake, we can make a bigger cake, a better cake working together. So that's what we tried to do here. Make a better cake working together with Amanda and Josie. All right. And then Boston 10 came in. They were late because of traffic. Okay. And then what happened was they hadn't gotten permission. All right. So then they had to get approval. So now they had approval. Now they're just going to tape. All right, so I want to thank Zeke's Mama, gifted 5 Justice Served TV memberships. That is fabulous. Thank you so much, Zeke's Mama. They've already been given out into the stream, okay? If you're chatting, you can get them. We always thought you had to be a subscriber. By the way, please subscribe, like, share, notify. You just have to be interactive in the chat, and you can possibly get one of those memberships. They're giving out, as I said, automatically by YouTube. We have no say in who gets them. But we really thank you, Zeke's Mama, for that. And there will be a members book club. I don't think Michael's set up the link yet. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. He is going to read more of Jennifer Shahadi's book, Thinking Sideways. Amanda says no videos or audio until the judge comes in. All right. Okay. So there you go. Whoops. You know what's happening here? Is my phone has decided it's going to be a little spy, and it's taping everything I had because I had been dictating to Michel Bryant. So now I have to grab it. I have to copy it all. I have to grab it, and I have to remove it. Oh my God. There you go. It's deleting everything, I think. Well, I'm actually going to send this. Ignore this, Michael. My phone was taping what I was saying on the air. So I just sent Michael a diatribe of what you guys all heard. So yes, my little phone was wiretapping me. Oh, I read something, by the way. I read something that your phone and Google on your phone, I don't know if it's all phones or just your iPhone, every like 10 minutes is sending information into, the cloud or whatever. Even if you are, you don't have Google on, even if you don't have it on, and sometimes even if your phone is off. So when I say it's a spy, it's a spy. Okay. Yes, it's a spy. Okay. Janet, I'm seeing I'm legally blind, and dictation usually gets half my words wrong. I know it does not like my New Jersey accent either. I think it prefers the Queen's English. And if you speak the Queen's English, you will get Siri to understand what you say. Okay. But if you speak New Jersey or you speak New York, I'm not from New York, I'm from New Jersey. It sometimes misinterprets what we say. And that misinterpret is kind. I would think after all these years, Siri should be able to understand what we say, since it's taking all of our information and reporting us to whoever. Okay. All right. So, everything is, your car is your spy now too. Remember, your car now has a box in it. Knows everything you do, every time you touch a window, every time you tap a brake, everywhere you go, when you put your radio on. It's also a little spy, okay? Yep, Miss Linda, Navigant's Guy. Every voice search made on Google gets stored in their servers by default. Yeah, I believe it. And now even when you're on, your Alexa, you used to be able to delete. Remember, Alexa would record certain things and would say, not for me, or record it, and you could delete it right off. You can't do that right now. And then it says after 30 days, but I don't believe it. I think that's why they need all these big servers all around the world. To store all the stuff. And then they need backup servers. And then they need backup servers to the backup servers. Okay? All right? And then we need backup to the backup to the backup servers, just in case something's in a war zone and all. So anyhow, Michael Bryant said when I told him ignore my message because my phone was taping what I was saying on the air, because it literally, it was like everything I was saying to you all. He said, whew. All right. Yes, we learned how the car was a spy in the Karen Reed trial. That's how we knew she was innocent, no accident that night. Yeah, we kind of did, right? Don't use Diane Galley. I don't use any fingerprints, face recognition, voice to text. Yeah, if you don't have face recognition to open your phone, the government needs a warrant to get into your phone. Like when people are traveling. Especially if you're like a lawyer, you shouldn't use face recognition because you have confidential things in your phone with clients. So the government does need a warrant to get into your phone. And then because they can get a warrant, a judge may say, well, if he's a lawyer, then anything that's attorney-client privilege, or there has to be a taint team or something like that. Yeah, but Border Control can go through your phone if they have it, and people don't realize it. You're on the other side of that entry. They can go through your phone, your computer, and everything. And so people don't realize all the different things that can be done by the government. All right. When you think that even if you're innocent, and we've seen how people who are innocent can be made to look guilty. Look at again the show we did last night. If you haven't seen it, on what was written, by this person who's a lawyer to instruct the dead end police how to enforce the First Amendment zone, the buffer zone. It's wild. It's not wild, it's outrageous, and some of it's dead flat wrong. All right? So, Linda, your phone is innocent until proven guilty. Good idea. My phone needs its own lawyer, huh? That's what you're going to say. My phone needs its own lawyer. All right. So yeah, that could easily happen, that my phone needs its own lawyer. All right. You're supposed to enter, what is this? I've got this going, a 6-digit PIN. It makes it a lot harder for them. Yes, you're supposed to enter a 6-digit PIN, not your birthday, because that's pretty easy, not your birthday. By the way, thank you, Donna Chansey, new member. Appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Again, you'll find Michael Bryant really does more on members than I do, and he loves doing it. And again, he's going to do a members first book reading, and he's got some other things planned. We don't know if Big Mike Day, which is picking our mic, is going to be for members or for everybody. It kind of depends on what's happening. Now, tomorrow night, I just want to, tonight I told you Michael will drive back to Connecticut after he does interviews outside the courthouse and post those. He said he posted one with Justin the Alien, but I don't see it. So maybe he thought it went up and it didn't. So he did one from last time where the alien refused to answer any questions, as we saw him going to court like that with his dad. All right. So tonight, Michael Bryant will drive back, as I said, Judge Ashley Wilcott, who has been a judge, child advocate judge for decades in Georgia, appointed by the governor there, and she knows everything that there is to know. And even though it's a different state, the concepts are generally the same. All right. He'll be on at 6 o'clock. So it's going to be a full day. Then tomorrow night, we're devoting a whole hour to the Sandra Birchmore case. Now, Mizzy, a mixed up girl, is going to be with us. Barb, Sandra's cousin, and who was the last person who spoke to Sandra, is going to be with us. And I should say it's devoted to Sandra and her baby, okay, baby Birchmore. So we will also have Dr. Priya Banerjee on, because when I read the last FBI report that's contained, it's not really the report, but the FBI found that's contained in the government's filing to keep Farwell in jail, they go into a lot about Norfolk County, and it seems to me corruption in what was not done properly. And to me, there's only one reason you would put this in a pleading. Remember, everything in a pleading can be public information. But if it's not in a pleading, it doesn't necessarily be public information. So I see more things happening. And also, does the medical examiner have to change their finding of manner of death and cause of death? I will advise those who are joining us for the first time that as you know, I'm married to Dr. Michel Bryant, who right now is getting on a plane pretty soon to Chicago to go testify. But he was the first board certified forensic pathologist who looked at this for the family and said, in his opinion, he doesn't say who, in his opinion, this was not a death by suicide, but this was a homicide. Homicide is a medical term. It means death at the hands of another. Murder is a legal term that's when somebody is indicted and you have to prove different things, whether it be intent or whatever the statute requires. So he was the first person. Then the feds came in. They hired their own doctor, who's not a forensic pathologist, by the way. People assume he's a board certified forensic pathologist. He's a police surgeon, but he's done a lot of things in dealing with what is a suicidal versus homicidal death. And he agreed with my husband independently, okay, about this case. Because, you know, when you're the government, you want to get an independent opinion. But he absolutely agreed, you know, and as I said, to me, Michael is a real hero on this case, and the attorneys who went and sought him out obviously deserve the credit. There's a lot going on in that case besides that. So we're going to see whether or not the medical examiner has to, by the way, you know, change her opinion. We did do a letter to them last time. We asked them when the murder indictment came down, and they said, you know, new information comes in, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think they've got some new information now about the DNA on the ligature, the semen in the panties, the sperm in the panties, I should say, and the DNA and her on her clothes. That sounds to me like new information. So we're going to send out a new email to them before tomorrow night's show, ask them if they have comment or would like to come on. I'm sure they're going to say they have no comment and won't come on, but we're going to do our due diligence anyhow. So Dr. Priya Banerjee is going to be on, and then we're also going to be on as a surprise guest, a lawyer you haven't seen in a while, but he is a fan favorite on whether or not he thinks that this pleading by the government shows that maybe there's going to be some more indictments coming on corruption and all. We would note that Tully, you know him, late Aidan Carney's lead detective involved in Karen Reed, also had his hands involved in Birchmore, did resign 2 years before he gets maximum pension at 23 years rather than 25 years. So, you know, we'll see. So, Melissa PX6G, thank you very much for that donation. If anyone can donate to Kelsey's Go, Set, and Go, please do. Yes, if you could put up the Go, Set, and Go in your link and all. And Maz Media has been running a number of fundraisers. We had Maz Media on. We interviewed him last week. We call it the Origin Interviews to see where people come from that you're following. You know, we tell you, we banter a lot about ourselves because I think it's important for you to know, as we've said, where we come from and why we are saying what we are saying. Okay. Harley, 622, I admire your husband and I can't wait to hear him talk. Well, he was on briefly on a couple episodes talking about this briefly. He really can't talk about much because, you know, Michael just won't talk about what his relationship with the attorneys and the family and things like that. He could just talk generically about what medical examiners do, and he did talk to us about that. Okay, Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Julie Hessen, plaintiff, alien counsel. I love this. Thank you, Kyle. Back in court presenting something to the clerk. I expect to ultimately hear what the parties have agreed to. If they have, put it on record. Okay. All right. So that's a possibility. Yes, that they have already come to an agreement. And Bridget Pike, 1107. Thank you for that donation. This all helps with Michael's gas money and feeding him because he left at like 5 o'clock this morning to get to Salem. I always watched your husband on HBO years ago when your husband did the autopsy shows. Yeah, and they're still running all around. You can still get them usually on HBO on demand on different shows. They did 14 seasons on them. Sheila Nevins greenlit them when no one was talking about autopsies. Yeah, and thank you very much. But he still works for a living. He loves what he does. We should all be Michael. We should all love what we do as much as he does. Can't wait to get up in the morning to do what he does, right? And, you know, if our lives were all like that, we'd probably all be happier, right? Wow, just terrific. So, yeah, what case is in Chicago is Linda? My husband went to Chicago. I don't know what case he's on. Okay, Michael, I always tell a funny story because, I can't talk. I can talk to him generically where I'm going. I'm going to federal court on this matter. That's public, but I don't talk about my cases. I have privilege. And he doesn't really talk about his cases. I told you, I tell the story, two stories. One was Sandra Birchmore. I didn't know he was on the case. We were at our cabin in the country, which is not very big. It's like, 1,200 square feet big at the most, being generous. And his office is upstairs. My office is downstairs. You've seen the studio downstairs. And I'm reading all this out. Here's something to finish the story about this Birchmore case that's coming up on my feed. And then I hear his phone start ringing. So I go upstairs and say, honey, is this your case? So I think it was like a Friday or something. So that's how I learned that what my husband is doing. Okay. And I'll tell you a funny one later on. But right now I'm getting a lot of like rar, 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 rar in my ear. I hope that's not going to continue. How about you? Is that what you're hearing? Okay. Do you guys hear that rar, 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 and you're coming out here? Because I'm getting into my ear. All right. Now we have no feed. I'd rather the feed be up and we hear that rah, rah, rah in my ear, Joy. Okay. And that's Justin the alien. We're missing him, Joy. We're missing him. I'm going to put him on the stage. I'm going to put him on the stage for me. I don't know. Can you hear all that? Can you hear that? Yeah. I don't want to miss these views, which we were about to miss. Okay. All right. Even with that, do you all hear all that? It sounds like an oink, 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 oink. That may be the white noise machine. Okay. Yeah, sounds like feedback too. There he goes. There he is. There he is. Justin Alayan. We're going to use his name. Not wearing a sports jacket this time. Maybe it's going to be 85 up there. Here we go. That is Kelsey's father, Steve, here. Okay, and you see Kelsey's father, Steve, sitting right there. We have the whole family. I can't see who Amanda is pulling in on. We've had Will Page, her stepfather, who also she views as a father. We still have that on our page. When you enter our Justice Served TV YouTube page, is still on top of that interview because we think that's so important. We have not removed it, even if some of the other interviews are getting a lot of feedback. Okay. It's be their own stream, I think, Amanda. They were able to set up their own stream, I think. Okay, now that seems to have stopped. That's Judge Mary Black. She's reading. By the way, this is not, if you see a Cash App or whatever, it may be Law Girls. If you want to donate to Justice Served TV, make sure you're giving our Cash App, Venmo, whatever, for Michael's gas for the mobile studio. Okay, so let's see. Law Girls is using the Boston 10 feed, but I thought they were not feeding. I thought they were only recording Boston 10. So that's my understanding. Okay. I thought they were only doing a record. This may be the white noise, okay, by the way, that we're hearing. And the, oh boy, is gas expensive, huh? That's for sure. All right, so yeah, that's what I think we're getting some feedback. And now it looks like it's just a white noise. Yeah, so there's no mainstream media feed. So yeah, so the likelihood is members, both we and Amanda were approved because we like to support Amanda and little wall girl, Josie. So we try to help with mic placement when we can because Michel Bryant knows that so well. Oh my God, thank you for the gas fund, Chicago Marie 312 990. And thank you very much. That really is appreciated because I'm sure we're going to use all these donations today for this gas up and back. Yeah, I can see you really don't like, The alien. Well, if you're on this channel, you probably aren't liking the alien. Yeah. Now, interesting that he is sitting there, although I think he came. Did he come with his father? Michael Bryant said he posted an interview of him coming in, but I think it was the last interview feed, not this one. Yeah. Hold on a second today. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. Enjoy. You're going to share it right away because I don't want to miss these. There's Kelsey. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. All right. I'm stopping the share. Can you share now, Joy? Because I don't want to miss the. I don't want to miss the views we're seeing right now. Yeah, if you could bring them up, that'd be great. Okay, let's bring it back in, so we can bring it back in. Yeah. Okay, there he is. There is Justin. And there is Justin. Now, next thing they need is to be able to zoom in. If we can get rid of that side view of that they have that Amanda has up there, that'd be great. So we can get more of a full screen. There he is. Thank you. There he is. There he is. All right, now he has to know. Look at Kelsey's side. Michael Bryant did say. Okay. I do have to attend to something that is. Hold on a second. I do have to attend to a legal matter for my client right now on the text. Okay, hold on. Okay. Thank you. Kathy Russon just sent us a text. And let me just put up what Kathy is. As you know, we love Kathy Russon from. And as I said, we had permission to stream too, but because Amanda and Josie were there. I'm just answering it. Okay, huh? Okay, let's see. This is what Kathy Russon is pointing out. Okay, this is from Kathy Russon. Thank you, Kathy. We adore her. And I'm actually going to send that to Michael too. All right, hold on a second, everybody. You just chat among yourselves and look at the litigants. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. I had to take care of something that has to do with the client, which I hope you all understand. I'm not ignoring you. I love you all. I'm all glad you're here. Okay, and thank you, Carrie P143. Thank you for the mobile studio. Thanks for all the coverage. We appreciate you, and thank you very much. We really appreciate this. Thank you very much. Okay, and all of you are putting to the gas fund for Michael. That is so great. You're all doing it. All of you, Jojo 22008. Thank you for covering this for the gas fund. Thank you all, Carrie again. All of you are doing this for the gas fund. We so appreciate you, and all. And maybe he'll even get a bite to eat on his way back. But we so appreciate all of you. Up there is Tim Bradle. There is Kelsey. Let's see. And there is Justin moving up with his attorneys. Okay. Gosh darn, Tim Brittle. I mean, most amazing thing. Sorry, I'm leaning in there but yeah, you know, we share a client. We share Aiden together. We share Aiden Carney together. Okay. Judge Mary Black is a highly respected judge today. So just so you know. Sorry, everybody. I apologize. Okay, Michael Bryant wants to know how the audio is. Should I try to record and tell him? Oh, I can't hear that. It's in my earpiece. The audio is terrible. It sounds like somebody is oinking. Oinking, not winking. Oh my gosh! Whoever said doesn't understand this. Siri does sound. It sounds like somebody is oinking. It won't let me send oinking to Michael Bryant. It keeps putting it winking. Is there any sound here that we're hearing, or the judge is not speaking? I still hear oinking now. I don't know if that's the feed. They're still working on the audio. Okay. I hear something. Now I don't hear anything. All right. We do not have any sound from the judge. We have no sound from the judge. Okay, we're going to have to try to find another feed. Let me see if I can find one. Because they're speaking and we don't have any sound. Okay. We'll look at Law and Crime. Law and Crime is in the Boston 10 stream. Is in the Boston 10 pool camera. All right. We had Boston 10 up there. I don't know why it got taken down, actually. Let's see. I'm sorry, everybody. Well, let me try. You keep this up there so people can at least see what's happening in court. And I am going to go. Nobody has sound, okay? All right. It's Baker's stream too. No one has sound. Great. The one thing we want to hear, and of course we can't hear it. This really is disgusting. I'm asking Kathy if they have sound or they have the same problem. Baker has no sound. More girls using Boston 10. Now they're leaving. Okay, well, this is interesting. This is why it may be very important that we had Michel Bryant in the courtroom. Okay, because everyone seems to be leaving. Okay, yeah, Boston 10 is not live. They are the stream. They are the pool camera for streaming. So if you touched into them, okay, they're not live, so that they are recording. But if they are recording, okay, so now there's nobody here. All right. It looks like it's finished. It looks like they had an agreement that they must have put on the record. So it's going to be really important for Michel Bryant. It is going to be very important for you to get on the air and tell us what happened, because nobody had sound. Broken Baker had no sound. No one had sound. So we have no idea what happened, except it looks like something was put on the record and we could see the different families. So you need to come out of the courthouse and tell us what happened. Okay, that's, you can hear my comments to Michel Bryant. Okay, so what Kathy Russell said, okay, so they did, what it is they've reached some kind of 90-day stipulation. She's given them 5 minutes to talk some more. So there is sound coming out of Law and Crime. We'll have it, Joy. Law and Crime has sound. They're directly hooked into the feed camera, which is Boston 10, who's not streaming it, but they're the pool feed camera. Okay, so if Kathy Russon just told me what happened. They apparently had sound being put into the full feed into the feed camera. Okay, yeah, I think so too. And since they were the approved streamers and we let them do it, all the streamers were in their stream. So I'm having this discussion. Kathy Russon is just simply the best. Law and Crime did have sound. Apparently, it was Amanda who didn't have sound, and all the streamers were streaming from her. Okay, so the parties agree that the RO is extended 90 days. Then the parties are to return to court. Judge didn't want automatic termination. Counsel is conferring. That's all hot off the presses from Michel Bryant. Okay, I'm going to copy that because he was in court, although I didn't see him because I was trying to work on getting this sound better. So I did not see him. So we need to get off we need to hold this on so we can see what's happening in court, but we need to find the Law and Crime stream, which is hooked into the full feed camera of Boston 10 directly. So basically, I guess that's what they're conferring on. I wonder what the motion then, whether the motion is going to be moved. Okay. Well, they're streaming it. Law and Crime is streaming it. Okay, they're not streaming it. Okay, here's what's happening. All right, Law and Crime, thank you, Joy, is not streaming it. They're hooked into the Boston pool camera. They're going to upload it in full later. Yeah, we have Michel in court, but that's it. So we'll look at the uploads later. Really is the view of the families that to me was the most important to look at while this gets resolved. Fascinating case, isn't it, Kathy? This is my conversation with Kathy Risson. You are hearing it because I love her to death, and all. As you know, she's amazing. She started her streaming channel. I think one of her first cases was the Hernandez case. And then it was bought by Dan Abrams, and now she is a superstar. And you hear me talking about you, Kathy? You are a superstar. I love you. All right. And this is why this community is so great. Everybody tries to help everybody else, right? It really is great. And again, as Broken Baker says, we make we make a bigger cake together. I mean, where there's a justice to be rooted at, we make a bigger cake together. Now, I'll remind you, as I said, Michel Bryant said, why don't we just do a streaming channel, 7 minutes a week, it'll be fun. Now, I have my day job all day, and then I have you guys, who I also love and consider you part of my family, all right? And everyone works so hard to bring everybody, and everyone tries to share things, okay? You know, it's just wonderful, and the respect in this community is wonderful. And well, we don't know whether in the 90 days, what the judge, what Michel Bryant says is the parties agreed that the restraining order, it's interesting how they don't call them TROs here, because they really are a temporary restraining order. They're not permanent unless it's permanent, like permanent, all right, extended to 90 days, and the parties to return to court. Judge didn't want automatic termination. Counsel's conferring. So, very interesting. But we did see some fees. I don't know. Did any of you see Michael in the courtroom where Michael was when I was trying to work and put all this up on the air? Yeah. All right. I have to respond to this. In the meantime, I am trying. I am trying to get a case done. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So poor Joy was looking around. So maybe there's other things that are going on in this restraining order, the stipulation that they agreed to. We don't know. All right. We don't know. That's why we need Michel Bryant. That's why we need Tim Bradel to talk, and all. And by the way, as we're doing this, and we have this 5 minutes, I will say, yeah, I know, Brenda Crowley. Let me just tell you, because we try to support Amanda and Josie, so we try to support them. That's why we, if they're doing it, we've been doing things for a long time. We try to give other people the chance to learn and all. So that's why we didn't stream it. We're trying to bake that bigger cake together, right? For the whole crime community, the law and justice community to rally around people that are upcoming and new. So that's what happened. Linda, 1974. Oh, I love that name. Linda, you know that name, it means beautiful. You know that, of course. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and hype. All right, you're doing my job for me. I love it. Keep doing it. I'll relinquish this anytime. Desiderata, member for 1 month. Hi, member for 1 month. Glad you're joining us. Hoping for reintegration of Kelsey and baby today. Well, it looks like that may not be happening. But we'll see. What other parts of the stipulation they've agreed to. All right, there's something going on. All right. So I think it may be a little bit late. Yeah, this is my home law office, okay? I also have conference rooms downstairs, and then, of course, I'm of counsel to Krinkell in New Jersey. So I have offices over, but this is my home office here. I use this for my criminal clients, mostly, especially, because I don't want them coming through places where different camera organizations can maybe take pictures of them, okay? All right, so yeah, I know some of you are upset that Kelsey's not getting the baby today. Charles Charles Argo 908, new member. Thank you, Charles Argo, for joining us as a new member. Okay. Black Dog Barks. I'm just putting some of these up. The entire system is broken in Massachusetts. All to drain people. Oh, we have sound of their money. Only the lawyers win. Well, no, all times lawyers don't win. You're not doing. You're doing this case because you love. Here we go. Can we hide that comment? Let's hide that comment now. Oh, that's their comments. Okay, that's fine. That's Amanda's comments.
You would maybe get into the record. So, and sir, and counsel, counsel, counsel for that. And counsel and counsel. Okay, the parties have been previously sworn, so your statements remain under oath. And addressing counsel, first you have to report regarding any changes to the stipulation at the court requirements.
Thank you, Your Honor. I promise not to discuss there, and for the court's comments and consideration, we will make that.
And counsel, do you wish to add anything? These questions will be directed to the parties relative to the stipulation that was filed today and honored at the second call. The court is addressing what we may call the amended stipulation. It is entitled in that fashion, but it was not the first one that was filed, so that's why I'm referring to it in that regard. Do either of the attorneys to summarize it?
Thank you. Your Honor, the parties have come to a stipulation which does two things. It extends the restraining order. It essentially just extends until July 13th.
It's not our audio equipment skillet pan.
Probably. And it also amends the restraining order, essentially being simple. No contract related to the files, and essentially we're left with a simple, not simple, simple notice.
Michael Bryant will play the original audio tonight at the 6 o'clock show, by the way, from Boston.
The parties did, other than the fact the parties did acknowledge they did not have to a review hearing, and it is both my brother counsel and my understanding that this is a matter of the parties trying to move forward with that.
And I note that in paragraph 4 of the stipulation that the parties acknowledge that by entering into this stipulation, the defendant is not admitting to or acknowledging or agreeing with any of the allegations in the affidavit that was filed by. Is that correct? Yes. Very good. And so we're going to, after the court conducts the colloquy, before then, I wanted to address one
Michael
issue.
Bryant's in
So
court. He'll come out and tell
where
us everything that's being said.
One will remain, which is the order not to refuse. Paragraph 2 is going to be vacated, which is the contact provision. So in the event that the court accepts the stipulation, there will no longer be any prohibition relative to contact between the parties. Is that correct? Counsel, yes. And then paragraph 3 is going to be removed, which is the order that prohibited the defendant from being in and around the Stone, Massachusetts residence where the plaintiff had been at the time the order was entered. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct? And then 4A was a prohibition that the defendant could not be in and around the plaintiff's work area. And that is being, is that correct, counsel?
Yes.
Is that correct? And then 6, the father plaintiff had been
Remember, they only allow one microphone.
blind
And it's not picking her
paragraph
up.
6, and that's being removed. Is that correct, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. But is the temporary order place and see case that does.
And is that your understanding? So while custody is vacated under the 209A order, there's currently a 209C order that provides that father has custody. Parties are aware. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And then paragraph 7, which prohibited previously contact with the child, that's going to be vacated as well. Is that correct?
Things are being vacated, so just so you know, things are being vacated.
Case that,
Is that your understanding, counsel? And the other provisions remain, including paragraphs 12. Is that correct? Is that correct? Do either counsel wish to make any other comments prior to the court conducting following? These questions are directed to the parties. You were here today for an evidentiary hearing, fairly before the opportunity to present evidence, to have witnesses, and to conduct testimony and cross-examination. Are you aware of that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of that? And this was considered what would be called a 10-day hearing. It's the 10-day hearing that previously been continued on
A lot of things are being vacated.
due
I
to
can't give you
other
specifics. A lot of things are being
reasons the parties
vacated.
have agreed to. Is that your understanding, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Dan?
Yes, Your Honor.
And based upon that information, both of you are electing to waive the ability to engage in an evidentiary hearing. Is that your understanding, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have enough time to think about that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you have sufficient time to communicate with your attorneys about this issue? Did you have all of your questions answered by your attorney to your satisfaction, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And based upon the stipulation that you have provided to the court, certain important issues have been altered, so we'll review those. Paragraph 1 will remain, which indicates that neither of that you, ma'am, will not engage in any abusive behavior toward the plaintiff, Mr. Elaine. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that provision, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Furthermore, moving on to paragraph 2, where previously, ma'am, you were ordered not to
Lori
contact.
Mullen, can I send you a link if you want to get on?
150 yards away from.
Or are you streaming?
And sir, you are now requesting that the court remove that provision. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Is it your understanding, ma'am, that that
Yep.
provision will be removed?
Yes, Your
This is actually
So
great.
is it your
Everyone seems to be being
understanding, sir,
vacated,
that
except they
no
can't have any
longer be a
abuse on each
prohibition
other.
for the defendant to contact? Are you aware of
Obviously, it's
that?
been working
Are
on
you
by the
aware of that
attorneys.
provision, ma'am, and understanding it?
Okay, well,
And you
laws
understand
in
it as
court.
well, sir. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And similarly, paragraph 3, there was an order that the defendant leave and stay away from the address that the plaintiff had previously indicated he was residing. And sir, you are requesting that the court vacate that provision. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're aware that there will no longer be a prohibition for the defendant to come to that location. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And ma'am, similarly, you understand that there are no longer any provisions relative to you staying away from the residence of the plaintiff. Are you aware of that? And similarly, there was a prohibition, sir, previously that the defendant remain away from your place of employment. Are you aware of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are now asking the court to vacate that position. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you understand that if the court allows the stipulation, there will no longer be a prohibition that the defendant stay away from your place of employment. Do you understand that?
I do, Your Honor.
And similarly, ma'am, do you understand now there is no prohibition relative to you staying away from the plaintiff's place of employment? Are you aware of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there is a child that the two of you share. This 209A order had previously provided the plaintiff's father with custody. but the court understands, sir, that you are now asking that that provision under the chapter 209A restraining order only be vacated. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that, Leah?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you also understand, ma'am, that there is another order in this court through another case that provides father with the custody of the child. Are you aware of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're aware of that as well, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And similarly, paragraph 7 was a prohibition from defendant contacting the child. And sir, you are now requesting that the court vacate that position. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is that correct, ma'am? So are you aware, sir, that if the court accepts this stipulation, there will no longer be a no contact provision in effect between the defendant mother and the minor child? Are you aware of that?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And are you aware of that? And the other provisions that remain is paragraph 12 relative to the surrender of any firearms. Are you aware of that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And ma'am, are you aware that there is still in effect the requirement that any firearms that you may have had or have are going to be turned over to the North End? Are you aware of that, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that provision remains in effect. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And I believe that that summarizes the pertinent aspects of the stipulation. Is there anything else you believe needs to be added to the council on behalf of the plaintiff,
No, Your Honor.
on behalf of the defendant? So having had the instructions, these are the following questions that I will ask. Relative to the stipulation, did you read and understand it, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you have enough time to think about it, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am? Did you have enough time to think about the changes that were made after the first call? Sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Did you have sufficient time to communicate with your attorneys and to have all of the questions that you may have had relative to this matter answered to your satisfaction, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am? And did you sign the stipulation freely and voluntarily, sir?
I did.
Ma'am? Very good. And based upon your testimony and as part of the colloquy, I will accept the stipulation, finding that it is fair and reasonable and free from fraud or coercion, and enter it in as part of the amendment to the restraining order. I'll make that change now. I know that the matter was also scheduled for a review of the 209C, but I'd like to handle that separately, so if you would kindly be seated, I'll complete the paperwork of the 209A order, and then we'll address the 209C. You may remain seated where you are. Thank you.
Who's whispering? We don't know. These are hot mics. Thank you, Lauren Mullen Law in our chat. Fabulous. And if you missed our interview with her, the origin interview, as I'd like to say, please go to our channel and find it. She's wonderful. So in other words, this judge is going to extend some of the no contacts with Justin for 90 days. Quite frankly, all that's going to probably be removed in 90 days. But what I'm trying to tell you all now is that this wasn't just done this morning. This has been worked on by the attorneys. Probably it started, Lori can correct me, when Judge Karp had the handwriting on the wall, letting Kelsey have her own apartment, and then they're not guilty. Reunification's the thing, all right? And Michael Bryant wanted to go up there today purposely because he felt this was not going to be just a restraining order, but that Judge Mary Black could do other things, especially if the party agrees, right? So the guts of the order, according to Michael, has been vacated. 150-foot stay away is vacated, okay? So, he'll give us the whole list for those that couldn't hear. I found that I could hear because I have an earphone, a headpiece in my ear. So when we came back, so the part we missed this morning, no one's going to replay that except to get the pictures and the photos of the parties here. Boy, what a day, for Kelsey. And the baby. I should say it's really not a day for what a day for this child who's going to get his mother back. And if you can see Justin seated in between his two lawyers. Here, Kelsey's in between Gradle and Julie. And now we're waiting for some paperwork to come back from the court. Looks like. Looks like it's being delivered. Thank you, Sarah. Be creative. Member for 6 months. Thank you.
On the election in Fitzsimmons matter at docket number 25W0966. Good morning again, Council. You willing for the record? And sir?
Justin Lamb.
And council?
Peter Piper, Your Honor, Justin Lamb.
Thank you. And council? Julia Esposito. And in the back, council?
Three men, Ryan Leonard,
And Mia? And council?
50 Rails, Justin.
Thank you. Once again, the parties that have been previously sworn to this statements remain under vote. The 209C matter was also scheduled for a review hearing today. I understand that next Thursday, that there were other motions scheduled. Is that correct, council?
That is correct, Judge. There were cross motions for temporary overtime.
Is that correct? Yes, Judge. All right. And one other housekeeping issue, so to speak. The restraining order, which I signed, indicates that the matter will next be heard in the Lawrence session. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because in accordance with the rescheduling or I suppose redistricting of matters in the Essex County Probate and Family Court, certain cases now based upon the residency of the parties are going to be in Lawrence. I'm going to, so that we don't mix cases up, I'm going to continue with the 209C, but I may need to address one other matter of 209A. Okay. So, what do you wish to report to me relative to the 209C 25W0966?
Well, Judge, generally speaking, my sister and I can file a joint status with the court procedure history phase. We have some discovery that still report out and clean up. We referenced the motions, and this case was originally scheduled for a pre-trial conference on May 1st before the Quran led in fact the case being moved good and investment conversations with your subject court, and we understand that the 209C case is also being moved to Lawrence, and we lined up with the court's great help a date for the pre-trial conference, I believe it's July 15th. And it's also understanding, Your Honor, the judge already had availability on her motion hearing list for April 28th for our motions. Also recognizing that the court was going to be here on the 23rd. We agreed to have, since the case is going to be moved on anyway, we've agreed to have the cross motion for temporary was heard on the 28th of March before Judge Owen. We have provided the court with a joint motion to procedurally make that.
And what date were you speaking to that with her?
The Madam Clerk gave us the date of March 28th. But in terms of joint motions, I'm sorry, 8/20.
Okay, because I'm just going to give that back to you because the motion is titled using March. So I'm just going to have you, I think that was just a scrivener's error.
Absolutely.
No problem. Thank you. All right, so the motion now is titled joint motion to move hearing from date from 4/23 to 4/28. Is that correct? And Judge Owen is available for that day. And so both counsel recognizing that the matter is going to be transferred ultimately to Lawrence want to have the same judge make the underlying temporary order as well as address the matter going forward. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct? All right. I'm going to allow that.
So the 423 motions hearing has been moved. That's in Salem. Has been moved to the 28th.
10 o'clock. All right, so you'll be 10 o'clock on the 28th in Lawrence. All right.
And it's going to get transferred, yes, to Lawrence. That's what she had said earlier. That's why it was also Judge Ulrich had signed a paper this morning that we read
And I'm
earlier.
going to add on this motion that all prior orders not inconsistent here with remain in effect. Is that agreeable to you, counsel?
It is agreeable. Thank you.
Is that agreeable to you, counsel?
Remember her papers, Julie Hess's papers were due on the 22nd, although they could have come earlier. So with the motion now being moved from the 23rd to the 28th, we wonder whether her papers will be due still on the 22nd or whether they'll be due on the 27th. But she can file the responsive paper to Justin the Alien's motion papers at any time.
So then we will not need to address any of the other issues in the 209C. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Councilor Franklin. So let's just one quick moment look back. I'm just looking at your stipulation. I just want to indicate you did. I think that the way we have it is fine. It just says the parties agree the abuse prevention order is modified period shall remain in full force and in effect for a period of 90 days. And we have the 15th of July, is that papers at the date that Judge Elwood. So do you folks want to do that so that I'm trying to avoid you having to come into court on multiple times. So you're scheduled for April 28th for motions in the 209C. I think we acknowledge that, correct? And then in the 209A, you would ask for a 90-day date. However, because the matter is being transferred to Lawrence, the date for the pretrial is July 15th. And I was going to continue the restraining order to that date so they didn't have to come in on the 13th and then on the 15th. So is that agreeable to you, counsel?
It is.
Is that agreeable to you, counsel?
It is, Your Honor. It's just that, you know, you can imagine the gravity of a dual use order for anyone and everyone involved. If the court is agreeable, I would prefer to leave on the 13th date and also coincide with the 90 days of the stipulation. Instead of having to modify the 90
Right,
days.
because the reason why I asked is because you crossed that whole thing out. Well, you see what I mean? I'm just wondering where, so you can leave it with the 90 days and then just have it be the 13th if you want to do that.
I would prefer to that, Your Honor, and then 13 is certainly already on the restraining order, is my understanding, right? It's the return date.
I mean, we can easily do that. All right, so I'm going to indicate that the restraining order will be on review for the 13th, as was requested in the order. The stipulation, even though it was crossed out, it says the 90-day period. So I think that in and of itself is clear. Do you understand that?
I do know, it's fine.
Did you understand that? That's very good.
And Your Honor, just to be clear for housekeeping, yes, the 209C is also being transferred to the Lawrence, so that's where we're supposed to be on the 13th, is that correct?
Correct. All of the matters now will go together to Lawrence. So your dates for hearing will be as follows. The motions will be addressed on April 28th at 10 a.m. in Lawrence before Judge Elwood. The abuse prevention order will be heard on July 13th at, should we do that at 9? At 10 a.m. in Lawrence. And then the pretrial will also be heard in front of Judge Elwood in Lawrence on the 15th of July. And that notice and order has already been prepared. All right? So I think that clarifies. Let me just double check all of the documents.
I'm not a betting person, but my feeling is if we get through that pretrial, or even before that pretrial, and custody is being worked out, this may never go to trial, because reunification is the thing here, okay? And even though it's going to get transferred to a different judge in Lawrence, or Judge Ulrich signed the orders, but that doesn't necessarily mean that will be her. You know, you can see how a lot happened. That this was just the restraining order, but a lot happened this morning. All right, that is important. So this Judge Black, being incredibly detailed. All right, incredibly detailed, and we are very happy that we went to hear this. All right, I think that the alien does not want any more look-sees into his life. And reunification is happening. It's going to happen. Okay. So, and the grandparents also, remember, have that issue about seeing the child. Now, I didn't hear that in this restraining order, but Michel Bryant can tell us, and certainly would love to have Will Page back on JSTV. He is just a doll. And I know her parents have been actually biological parents waiting because they don't want to say or do anything that would interfere with their grandparents' ability to see the child. There is no grandparent right statute in Massachusetts. Okay, just so you know.
So we will send out to you in the mail the documentation relative to the 209C, and I'm going to provide the and our 209A clerk, I'm going to give the 209A order to her, and then the parties can cooperate with her following the instructions of my court officer to have those matters served. And court officer, so I believe that that concludes all of the matters with the court today. Is that correct, Counsel?
It does. Thank you very much.
Thank you for Counsel for the defendant. Yes, very good. Thank you. You may step back, and we will get these others out to you in the mail promptly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
We hear a lot of thank yous. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They'll be exiting, leaving the courthouse. I don't want to say exiting because it sounds like I'm a cop. He exited his vehicle. They'll be leaving the courthouse. Michael Bryant is there. And that'll be the end of that feed until Michael Bryant, I think, will hopefully join us on StreamYard, and I will text him. Okay. It's a big one, as Michael Bryant said. Here we go. Michael Bryant. Kelsey Fitzsimmons can now go to Justin Alayan's workplace. Okay. Can now go to Justin Alayan's workplace. And also can now contact the child. So that's the big one. All right. Alayan, or the alien, as we call him, as custodian, is vacated. But we heard that. Okay, we heard that. Is vacated. Kelsey Fitzsimmons can go to Alayan's home in Stowe. Alayan as custodian is vacated in the 209A, but 209C still keeps him custodian. So we'll have to talk to Michael about the difference, what that means. But the big one is that she can now contact her child. All right. So I can't wait to hear what it was like in that in that courtroom from Michael Bryant. And I can't wait to hear what's going on. I hope that he comes on the feed. Let me see. Let me ask him, are you coming on the feed, and can we see what's happening outside the courthouse without waiting for you to unload? Can you just put the potato cam up, or your phone, or whatever? We need to know what's happening. We need you now, Michael Bryant. Everyone is asking for you, Michael Bryant. I'm making him feel good. Everyone's asking for him, okay? So, yes, thank you, Joy, for taking that down, yes. So there you have it. We're moving in the right direction. All right. We're moving in the right direction. As we said, even though this was just a restraining order, and I don't say just, okay, this was not the motions that we had that are now going to be heard on April 28th in Lawrence, not April 23rd in Salem. You know, and we got a hint of that because the pretrial was moved at the joint request of the parties from May to July, with a trial date in July. As I said, I do think that this may get resolved, okay, before that. But right now, I need to know from Michael Bryant what is happening, okay? And of course, we got to give him time to get outside. Even if you have to do low tech and point your iPhone, hopefully you can get on with our little hotspot Wi-Fi and give us the scoop. I especially want to know what the feeling was in that courtroom. You know, that's what I really want to know. Okay. Yeah, I'm agitating the agitator, right? Oh my God, I'm agitating the agitator. Yes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is a step. I mean, I think this is actually a lot more than I thought that was going to happen today. And whether or not it was the attorneys working together, whether it was not the alien seeing the handwriting was on the wall, or whether it may be Judge Black, we don't know. And I can tell you from being an attorney, a lot happens behind the scenes, and many times with the judge, okay, who gets permission for ex parte conversations to be set up to try to facilitate some type of negotiation, try to facilitate something. So, this was something that just didn't happen this morning. So I think when we came, we don't quite understand the first hearing where she said she's extending the order. I guess unless you agree to something, and maybe there was a sticking point and they went back and talked about it, but it was only 5 minutes, so it couldn't have been that a sticking point, that much of a sticking point. Yes, let's bring on the agitator. All right. Again, and in fairness to Michael, it was his call, because he was like, "Oh, thank you for telling me I look that way." It's been quite a busy morning here in the Kenney Baden household and law office. All right. Yeah, Michael, you get Michael Easter on the cell phone records. We don't have the cell phone records. That's the problem. We love Michael Easter. He's taking a break from social media right now because he has so many cases and he was in such demand over Guthrie. I think we made such a superstar. So he's going to, when he finishes his cases, he will check back in with us and we'll get him on. But he, as you know, he likes to know what he is speaking about. I mean, he wants to research it and what he is speaking about. So while we're waiting, and all of you are happy and we're clapping, and we know that this is a step in the right direction. While we're waiting for the agitator, let's go through again what the schedule means. Okay, tonight our schedule. Judge Ashley Wilcott is going to be joining Michael, and he may want more to break down what happened, but I think he's going to have so much because we'll probably play clips from the Boston 10 feed. They're the pool camera. It's the one Law and Crime is tapped into, but they weren't streaming it. They're just feeding it. So they're going to be, Law and Crime will be uploaded if you want to go to them first, because you'll see clips from our uploads probably later on at 6. He'll break down in great detail what happens next, not what happened since, but what happens next and all that. Then tomorrow night, we've talked about Sandra Birchmore. We have Mizzy, we have Barb, we have Judge forensic pathologist Banerjee, and a surprised legal guest tomorrow night. That's expected to go a while. And Thursday, we're working on a show that I'm not going to tell you about. I should have it in place hopefully by tomorrow. But you never know what breaks with these things. When you work on putting together a show, then all of a sudden something breaks and all. And then Friday, the premiere right now, as Michael and I have planned it, is to go over the proctologist's motion to limit discovery in the Karen Reed case, and Karen Reed's motion to open the asshole right up. Okay, if we're going to have those memes, let's have those memes. So we're going to go through those two motions in detail, and that will premiere as it stands right now. Will premiere Friday at 6 p.m. Because when we go through the motions, it's tedious, obviously, but very, very important, as you know. So yes, trigger warning. The proctologist. Kay Schmidt gifted 5 Justice Serve TV memberships. Thank you. They've already been given out for those of you that are in the chat. You don't have to be a subscriber, but please try to subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 36,000 subscribers in a year and a half. Just like it's taken off from these 7 minutes. Okay, Linda, we're going to be 7 minutes. We can be fun. We can talk anything we want. We can talk horses. We can talk politics. We can talk fashion. We can talk law and crime. And then I didn't know I was marrying a crazy man for my pod stream. I just kid that lovingly. Michel Bryant just loves to do this stuff. It's in his veins. And I can't leave him out there alone. Okay, I just can't after committing to do 7 minutes a week. So here we all are, one big happy Justice Serve TV family. We started a little bit slow. We got shadow banned. We had to change the Justice Serve. So it was not just our media company. We're also working on full-length features with a major network on some major show. So that's why it's a Bride and Bottom media company. So anyhow, I got off. We're doing Birchmore, and that's a long 7 minutes. You're absolutely right. Okay. And then I think Michel Bryant hasn't set it up yet, and he probably is going to need a thumbnail for the book club tomorrow, which he runs at 2, and he's going to read more of Jennifer Shahade, 3-time national chess champion, just made another final table in poker, about thinking sideways and how that navigates her to winning in life. As you know, she's been my client. I love her to death. She's terrific. She's wonderful. And as a matter of fact, tonight, that's the client who I am with, as she has a book signing and a lecture here in New York City. So that's why I have to leave you, and I have to deal with my own clients, who I adore. But you will have Michael and Ashley. You're going to be just fine. And I'll be putting together the show for tomorrow night and all. And tomorrow night, by the way, we will be going through the prosecutor, the Department of Justice's reply brief to keep Farwell in jail. That's the one that released all the stuff about the DNA. Well, there's a lot more in that besides that. There's how Norfolk County looks like they were completely corrupt, in my opinion. And so I asked the question, is a corruption indictment coming in some way? Because the FBI only starts talking about police departments and people that are in politicians if they're looking at corruption. That's what they do, okay? So we will absolutely fire up that question for all of you, okay? And all. I know Michel Bryant was going to, and I think send an email to Adam Deitch's office. We'd love to have him on, but you know, he's running for Norfolk DA. I don't know if it's time, he's ready or wants to, but we'll see, because we're not letting the Birchmore case go, obviously. But Kay Schmidt, thank you. Please pay it forward if you can. If you enjoy the memberships, we're well over 400 members now. We try to do one thing special a week for members first. Okay. And as I said, there you go. There's a new member, Wallflower 420. Welcome, Wallflower. Okay. Well, our first, we had a first broadcast, I forget, but we used September as our anniversary dates, because when we first started with that 7 minutes, we really weren't doing this, right? We were just doing, hi, how you doing, you know, and all, and, you know, Passion Friday and things like that. But then we got shadow banned, because somebody put a shadow ban on Bryant and Baden. So we had to research when we, how do we get out of the shadow ban? That took us about 6 months. And so once we put justice in our name, we could be shadow banned, because if you shadow ban the word justice, you take off a lot of different people. So, and then you guys found us, and we all started to grow. And then Michael, we had the first interview with Michelle Tricona's sister. That was our first big interview. Then we had an interview with one of the experts. That was our second big interview. Let me just see what Michael may be texting me. Nothing yet. And then we kind of took off from there. And then Michael went in December of that, our first 4 months, he went to the Registry of Deeds in Karen Reed, and he went into the basement, and there was a whole group of everybody. And they first looked at him like, are you a cop? Are you a spy? Are you a anti-Karen Reed? And we weren't anything. We were just covering Karen Reed at that point. We had no opinion one way or another on Karen Reed. But he let everyone talk. He let Dina talk. Will DeGlaro was there. He let them talk. And then they kind of adopted him because they felt he was fair to them. All right. We try to be fair to everybody. And even when we have a viewpoint, we're going to tell you we have a viewpoint. Kay Schmidt has been a member for 15 months, and she has donated so many memberships. So please, you know, anything you can do to pay it forward. Kay Schmidt, we thank you. 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 Yes. Yeah, here we go. Yes. Lori Marie. Yes, I was there. I have video of his being there with that group. Will spoke a lot. Yes, and that's when we first met Will. And then Will asked us to come on his channel, and he was amazed that we said yes. He said he couldn't believe he was talking to me. I don't know, you know, because I had tried so many high-profile cases. And of course, Michael is our ambassador because, again, well, you all know Michael. You see him. He can be as tough as nails, but he also will try to give everybody the time of respect and support that they have, even if there's a different viewpoint, okay? Except if you're maybe on Justin Alien's viewpoint. And that whole alien thing happened because he couldn't pronounce a name. And then everyone took it over. And then he would call Judge Karp 5-6 times like alien. And then the prosecutor even called alien. And everyone was calling him alien because no one could pronounce the name. All right. And then it kind of stuck. And you saw this morning when Amanda had her channel up, she had a picture of an alien up there. So it's like a meme that took off, and it did start absolutely with Michel Bryant on this channel, for good or for bad. Okay. And all. So yes, so there, yes, we are. So we have our moderators, George Schmehar, we have Missy Mayhem, we have Sheila Duffy, whose mug is on the way. It's on the way. It's made its next stop. At least it's now in Europe. Okay. After a year, that was World in the World is Justice, which we started then, and we just bought more mugs, so we'll try to get back to that. But we've been so busy that you kind of knew Where in the World is Justice because we're on the road with our mobile studio, right? And Michel Bryant almost all the time. We bought the Starlink, and now we've got the Wi-Fi network, and we've got the mobile studio, and we bought a camera so that we could stream. I think next time maybe we should try to stream. I'll talk to them about that, and be the streamers. But Massachusetts is also terrible because they allow like this one mic, and the one mic is, if you put it on the lectern, what are you doing? You're putting it on the lectern, and you really can't pick up anything. It's just terrible. And then you get to other courtrooms, so it picks up everything. And as lawyers, you have to remember that you're on a hot mic all the time, every single time. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lizmi Hero. I love this channel. So respectful and kind. Thank you very much. We try to be, although we can be tough, as you know, and ask the tough questions. But we try to bring you the legal analysis, things that we'd want to know. And we can get a little spicy sometimes. You've seen it. We can go on rants sometimes. You've seen it. And, but we try not to get involved. There's so much of that drama on X and Twitter, just drama, that we try to stay away from that. Now, that's not to mean that we stay away from having a dramatic, there we go, Linda Rand. Yes, we even have a media asset for that, and all. And yet we have clients, Aiden's been on our show. Aiden, as you know, again, is my client. We're not shying away from things, but we try to stay away from the drama and bring you the real, either the crime stuff, the justice stuff. And of course, then there's always Fashion Friday, which sometimes turns into Fashion Thursday, and sometimes it turns into Fashion Wednesday, maybe Fashion Tuesday. Everyone asking for tips, and everyone wants to know when Jimmy and I are going to do a new makeup session, not make up. Okay, let's be clear on this. And we're working on it. We'll have to get a date, and we also have to get a date where Will and I finish doing the Wuthering Heights, where he is Heathcliff and I am Catherine, that we plan to do. All right, so we do have those, and I should again rewrite them down: Wuthering Heights and Jimmy and all. But the time has to be right. Okay. So we'll get to that. So we like to do some fun things too for all of you. I think that Jimmy thing was a riot, and people are still going to it, looking at it, and all. And then so we do that also because look, you have to know where we're coming from to know why we have our views. And then sometime people will say, we don't want to hear your banter. Well, if you don't want to hear our banter, you have to go to another channel. We banter for a number of reasons. One, the notice from YouTube, in case you haven't known, right? The notice from YouTube, all right, does not go out until the show starts. So we've already done our cold open on the show when that notice has gone out. And then people get the notice, they've got to get their phone, they stop what they're doing, run to the ladies' room, run to the men's room, I'm going to be listening to this. And then by the time people get on, it's usually about 10 minutes into the show, 12 minutes into the show. So we try to banter for that initial period of time. And we try to do our rip and reads for cases that are in the news that need a mention, but that we're not covering on the channel in full. All right. And that does it. The second thing that does is, again, gives you our experiences and what we're coming from and why we have the viewpoints that we have. All right. And so we, if you don't like it, fine. Don't come. Then go to another show. Because a lot of people don't understand what's happening. Like most of you won't understand that this whole thing wasn't just worked out in court this morning. There's been conversations between the attorneys to get to where this is this morning. This is not just new, all right? You know, so, and some people say, well, they worked this out in 5 minutes. No, 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 no. And the attorneys knew, and the attorneys for the alien had to tell him that when Judge Karp said Kelsey could live alone and that she didn't have to have her mother there, that was a clue. It's called a clue in forensics and in, you know, murder mysteries. It's a clue. All right. And when she was found not guilty, that was a clue. Okay. That reunification was going to happen. And so they've been working on this, I would imagine, for a while. Now, does that mean it's going to be easy with the implementation of some of the things that happened this morning, which we'll get more of an analysis on when Michel Bryant comes, or the aka the agitator comes on? Let me say, hey, agitator, where are you? Okay. All right. He's maybe not listening to me again. All right. Yeah. So you notice how disrespectful we are of each other. I'm just kidding. You know, like, help, help. I have to tell you, there was a funny thing. There was one day on Karen Reed, I think I was on the air for like 8 hours and he was in court and all. And it was like, I had texted him, you have to get on, you have to go to wherever you're set up in the parking lot and you have to relieve me because I have to go to the bathroom. All right. All right. When you're sitting here and you're drinking, and this is the fun side of this, all these things. Now, if you're on a TV station and you're hosting, you have breaks, right? And you run. You don't see the behind the scenes, but people don't stop being people because we're talking to you. All right. The same in a courtroom. Lawyers don't stop being people because they have to, you know, be severe in a courtroom. All right. So, oh, thank you so much, Libra in Seattle. Okay, $4.99. I appreciate everything you guys do, and we appreciate you, and thank you for that donation. Okay, because Michael will be going back up to the hearing on the 28th. Okay, there's no doubt about that, and we'll see. Because even if they resolve things, they still have to put things on the record in some type of stipulation, and so hopefully he's agitating Justin. Well, you know what? If I go to our Justice Serve TV page, let me see if he's uploaded everything, because he said he uploaded an interaction with Justin, but I didn't see it. No, just good morning from Salem is all I see. Okay, you know, on the new upload. So maybe he was talking about the previous interaction when Justin came in with his dad to quote me. Just see, no, that's not him. All right, so any specific questions that you have? All right, it's on YouTube, Karma Dharma. His interaction, why isn't my YouTube Facebook page showing it as a video? Because he was supposed to put it also on X. I mean, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty my cache. How's that? I will refresh. I'm still getting, it's 5 hours enough. Good morning from Salem. Morning from Salem. I'm still getting it. I'm still not getting it. And he also said it was on YouTube. Videos. Go there. Good morning from Salem. All right. We'll have to see. I'll have to see why. I hear Michel Bryant has entered the studio. He must have heard my plaintive wail that I need my pod partner. I need my streaming partner. I need my Emmy winner and all these other things. He must have entered this. I see a thing that says Michel Bryant. There it is. I see it. I see it. Oh my goodness, he's coming. Okay, so he's going to probably tell us everything that we need to know what happened. And hopefully he has a potato cam and he has interviews on the courthouse. All right. And yeah, the agitator. And by the way, we are looking into what you all wanted was Loserville. Are you Loserville t-shirts? You know, welcome to Loserville. You know, and joining it with the agitator and changing that shirt with that, or adding that shirt. All right. So we go. All right. We're patiently waiting for the black screen to miraculously show the very handsome co-host of this show, Michel Bryant. All right. I tried that lead in, that didn't work. All right. We're patiently waiting for. All right. You have to love live TV, don't you? Okay. All right. Let's see. Nothing here. Nothing here. In case you didn't notice, we only have a black screen of you. Unless you're hiding and you're incognito. You know. Let's see. In the meantime, yes, hit that subscribe, like, share, notify, and you get 3 hypes a week. He looks like he's having some problems with the new Wi-Fi, or could it be the Starlink? You may have to sign back out, Michel Bryant, if you can hear me. You may have to sign back out and sign back in, all right? You may have to sign back out and sign back in, because that looks like that's not going. Oh, now, yep, he must have heard me say that, because he's off. All right, reveal yourself. You know, he's like hiding from the cops after that Dedham thing and after the state police thing, isn't he? You know, he'd never hide. He's, you know, remember, we started that April 1st, and Michel Bryant, we were on the air. We showed it last night. If you haven't heard it, time to listen to it again. And he's buffering. Yeah, he's creating trouble. It seems like I'll be happy to move out of Salem, because we do seem to have a lot of tech problems in Salem. Now, we did buy this new little standalone Wi-Fi port that's supposed to work when Starlink doesn't work. That's what the potato cam was on, all right? When we went to take a walkthrough of Kelsey's house, which was the outside view. Where in the world is Michael? Joy, that was a good one. Yeah, well, we know exactly where he is. Maybe the better question right now is, when is Michael going to overcome these tech issues and be on the air? All right, Michel Bryant. All right, let's see. Are you even getting my texts? You know, we were doing well from the courtroom. He was sending texts, and I was reading to you as he was sending to you. But yes, you are in Salem. Now, you know the history of some of the things we say, by the way. You know, you take something with a grain of salt. Do you know that saying? I have an old saying. People don't use it that much. But when you take it with a grain of salt, you're like, yeah. Take what you say with a grain of salt. That came from the witches, all right? If they thought you were a witch and they put a grain of salt in your hand, all right? You know, imagine my hands are even sweaty right now from being on the air. And it stayed pristine, you weren't a witch. But should that grain of salt melt in your hands, you were a witch and you were burned at the stake, all right? So that's where that came from, taking something with a grain of salt. All right, so stay with us, the trivia channel, addition to the lawyer channels. We say with a pinch of salt in the UK. Well, that's where it came from. It came from the Salem witch trials. Oh, can you imagine? Imagine that, and imagine that somebody is nervous because they're being accused of being a witch and they know they could die. Imagine how many times the grain of salt would melt in the hand. You know, I don't know how big the grains of salt were back then, though. You know, I don't think it was like Morton's. It may have been a little bit bigger. But wow, he's coming. He's coming. He's agitating us. All right. I actually have no text from him at all, which tells me that somehow there is no cell phone service where he is. All right. But we're waiting for him. We're not going away. We're not going away until we get our Michel Bryant fix in, because I really do want to hear what it was like, even watching, and where he was sitting and who he was watching, and all. Did he hear any moans or sighs, or did he hear any audibilizing from Kelsey? Had a lot of supporters with her, as you saw, right? Which witch is which, said Proctor's colonial relatives. You guys are funny. I always say it is, yeah. Where in the world is Michael for real? Yes, where are you, Michael, for real? Well, wow, yeah. But we have to hear right now. I mean, I can't wait till 6 o'clock to know. I will be here at 6 o'clock. I need to know right now what happened in that. I mean, what was it like? You know. And then for those of you who couldn't hear everything, you know, we want to hear all. We want to hear all. I want to see the order. I want to see the order. I know Kyle Sharkey is probably looking for it to be filed, but you know what happens with Massachusetts is it takes a while from the filing to whatever, okay? So anyhow, boy, Justin, when I look at him, I look at a picture of him and I screenshotted it. Wow, he really, you know, just what could I say? He really, well, he has that posture, but he did not look like a happy man. Now, we do know that Bradel exited the courthouse and maybe didn't give a press conference, from what I could see. But we'll know more if we can ever get the agitator on. Maybe the alien has the agitator. All right. Maybe that's happened. Who the heck knows with regard to that? Yeah, poor guy. Christy says, poor guy. Christy Leisman 8761. Yeah, I feel bad for him because he tries hard. We buy all this equipment and I feel bad for how poor Amanda must have felt that she had set everything up and then it didn't work on the first go around, but it did work on the second go around. I don't know why when you have these hearings, why the court system waits. As I said, we had even put our request in to be there. Now we get a little bit more privilege because we do have that 119, which we fought for because initially there was somebody from the media office who said streaming channels did not qualify. And even though the rules, it says streaming channels could be a streamer. All right. So we actually fall for them. So they are, so let's see if somebody's following. If somebody is following them, let's bring them in. Let's bring the feed in, Joy. Okay. If they're giving a press conference, let's bring the feed in because obviously Michael has failed us. Oh, my goodness gracious. If you see anything, I don't see anything. I'm looking, I don't see anything, but that doesn't mean there isn't. But that could mean that Michael is just taking, is recording right now, that he's recording onto his cell phone to upload later, because he would be recording outside on his cell phone, not with the camera that we would use if we were in the courtroom. Okay, so, I mean, look at it this way. Last time he went to the Kelsey hearing in the trial, right? Last time that happened. And I was trying to ask questions of him, and he was ignoring me. He says it's because he couldn't hear me. So he bought a sound booster to the dongle that goes into the phone, that then plugs into the earpiece, so he could hear me better with the earpiece. But the order is not on the portal. Thank you. But maybe just giving us a song and dance. What do you think? No, he wouldn't be doing that. Remember, he was up at 5 o'clock this morning driving on the road so he could get there by 8 o'clock. And I can attest to you because I was looking for my phone and he was like calling me and I was answering my watch, 8 o'clock. Like, where are you? I'm on my watch, Michael. I'm Dick Tracy. I can't find my phone. So, I mean, he's very, very, this is very important to him to do this right. And to, again, as I say, we try not to get involved with the drama, even though people try to entice us into the drama. If you don't know our backgrounds and who we are, and that's the time where Google can be your friend. All right. Yeah, let's all send mental waves to Michael. Michael, well, he did try to get on. He did try to get on, as you see. Okay. So I don't think they did interviews, outside. Joy, I just asked you to look, but my understanding is that they didn't do any interviews outside. But we can't go away until we hear from the agitator. All right. So no, we don't see any interviews. I'm looking on it. The portal does not have the order, which we could go through in great detail. If the portal had the order, we could bring it in. So the pretrial conference date, I'll remind you, is 7/15/2026 at 10 a.m. But it's possible that, as I said, this case could be settled by then. The next hearing date is April 28th. But as you saw, things happen behind the scenes. And, it's also expensive, all right? It's one thing for the alien to say, we're going to fight this, we're going to fight this, we're going to fight this. But when you're two attorneys, and there he goes, need to have the retainers and the hourly rate, all of a sudden you're going to fight this for what? Something that you're going to lose anyhow? And lawyers have to be honest with their clients. And I see him. I actually see him in the green room. I see Michel Bryant in the green room. I can't hear what he's saying because he hasn't headed to the stage yet. But I don't know who he's talking to. He may be talking. There we go.
Well,
Holy moly!
whew,
Wow, what the heck has happened here?
so that
Because,
happened.
Can I tell you, all right, what happened when we couldn't hear? What happened when we could hear? What was the courtroom like? Were there any interviews
Oh,
afterwards? And why is it that we couldn't get you, the agitator? I'm turning this over to you for the moment.
Tim Bradle
Or
just
for a
asked
long moment.
Can you hear me now, though? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Tim Bradle just asked the same question. I heard there wasn't audio for the first chunk. Well, and the only reason there was after that is we threw up a second camera, and then I threw up, and we threw up a second camera because the camera being done by 10, nobody seems to understand what happened, but his audio was not feeding through the line that we had plugged into his audio.
True.
So at that point, we were handcuffed. We couldn't stop court and throw up another camera, which is what we did in the second half, and got crummy audio, but some level of audio. I have asked for their full recording from 10, which we can re-rack at some point. But to some of your other questions, let me jump to the headline that nobody else has, because I asked him after he did a very brief.
Okay, wait, headline, the big reveal from the agitator. Let's hear it.
There are current discussions underway between Kelsey Fitzsimmons and Justin the Alien for visitation with the little boy. There you go.
That's a great.
Yes.
Now, why wasn't that addressed today? Because people were hoping that was addressed in the order today.
Well, interestingly, it wasn't really part of today's plan, except when they gutted the restraining order, and I was sending you notes as best I could. Basically, all of the prohibitions that were in place are now gone.
Which is what people don't know.
Let me give them to you one at a time. She was prohibited from having any contact with Justin. That's been vacated. She was prohibited from going to his workplace. That's been vacated. She was prohibited from going to his home in Stowe. That's been vacated. All of those things. And most importantly, the no contact with the child part of the order has been vacated. So when they came out of court afterwards, and I recorded it, I'll pop it up there as soon as we're done. The signal here, I'm so glad we're going back to Lawrence, which is a dream when it comes to Wi-Fi, parking. I'm parked over by a field near a railroad track, like a hobo, because this was actually a better place to be for the Starlink, and I can walk across, kind of go cross country and get to the courthouse so much easier than trying to use their parking area. Glad that's over with. We're back in Lawrence for everything to come in this case.
The curse of the witches. The curse of the witches.
It really is. Witch is not the word I was using under my breath in court because it was so annoying. Anyway, so the framework was in place, and so after the parties came out, Tim Bradle didn't really want to talk much. There were two local affiliates there and me, and I asked a question, asked Kelsey how she was doing, how she felt, kind of a great, and we're moving along, we're doing great. After the fact is when because he rushed us along, but after the fact I caught up with Tim again. I said, so what's the deal? All of these things have been vacated relating to Kelsey's ability to get with her son. What's going on? And he said there are active communications between the parties. They're playing nice for the moment, and they're trying to arrange for her to be reunited with her son. For how long, when that'll happen, unknown, to be worked out, but that is the key thing. They're working on it. And if you look at the affidavits flying between these two parties, you might have thought, well, that ain't ever going to happen, not without the court's help. But all of this happened as I predicted the other day, and I laid out today as I was making the couple of posts on X. So much of this happens behind the scenes, out in the court hallways, in judges' chambers, and then they put it on the record. And that's exactly what happened here. I saw them all out there huddling prior to the hearing being heard. Judge calls it. They have the stipulation. Had some issues with the dates and the times. The one thing the judge did not like was this. Wow. They are extending the restraining order for 90 days, which on its face sounds like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But when you vacate virtually everything of importance as they did, then fine. It's in place. It's a mechanism, but all of the vacated prohibitions being gone, it's got very little teeth, right? That was going to end automatically. The agreement was it will end automatically without court order or interference on the 13th of July. That's the 90-day window. Judge didn't like that. Judge said, no, you're going to come back to court. If there are issues, we're going to put them on the record. We're not going to rely on just things coasting along. She's been in this game before, right? She knows
she was fabulous,
issues.
Right?
Yes, she is so thorough, and so I don't know if I want to go out and have a drink with her. Might be kind of boring, but she is so thorough and so respectful of the parties. Asking every interval. Do you understand that? Has it been explained to you? Have you had enough time to reflect on that? Is this the decision you want to make? I mean, just impressive, right?
It's like almost like
So-
a criminal case, right? In terms of when you're querying
yes.
a party, right?
And there was, remember, today was supposed to be an evidentiary hearing, but they waived that. And so what happens whenever you have a waiver? Is it knowing? Is it voluntary? You know, is it voluntarily made? And do you know what the hell you're doing in the parlance? So that she had to do that for their waiver of the evidentiary hearing for today, which became unnecessary when you came to a stipulated agreement. But she wanted that 90-day window on the record, so they will have to go back to court in Lawrence on July 13th. And by then, I swear, everything will be worked out by then. I'm confident of that. July 15th, 2 days later, is the new and improved pretrial conference. Remember, that was set for May 1.
Right.
The party said that's way too early. We're not ready for that. So to tell you how important Julie Hess thinks it is that they maintain that 90-day date, the judge asked if they wanted to consolidate that. Just say, we don't want you to have to come on the 13th and then on the 15th, right? And Julie Hess said, no, let's keep that in place. She knows. She's the family law expert on the team. So she wants that to stay in place. It will. If they have to ping pong back and forth 13th and 15th, so be it. She felt it was important enough that they keep that in place. So let me tell you about the courtroom.
Yeah, talk about the courtroom.
If you look at, if this were a wedding, it was pathetic, because you walk in, this has a center aisle in this courtroom, as many do. You've got about 4 benches. You probably saw it. I know Boz, the cameraman for the local affiliate, was panning around, and you can tell it's about 4.
Well, we went off at one point
Disappeared.
to try to get. We disappeared because we couldn't get the sound, and so we missed some of the some of the
crowd shots.
Yes.
Well, what you would have seen with the 4 pews on each side is all 4. It might only be 3 on each side. All the pews filled on the bride's side, Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and just Justin and his dad on the other side. So when Justin got up to do his thing, just his dad sitting there all by himself. So interestingly, they were flip-flopped in terms of who was at what side of the parties and council table. So the crowd was really behind Justin physically, and Kelsey had just Justin's dad behind her physically, not supportive, obviously. So pretty good crowd. They really, if they had any more folks in support of Kelsey, they would have had to fill the groom's side of the courtroom. There was one here. We weren't sure when we were coming in. Okay, is there going to be a long calendar? This is the cattle call. Who knows where this falls? The court is great. I'm not big on their Wi-Fi. I'm not big on their parking, but the personnel, the judge, the bailiffs, great. And
That's
I said,
right.
what's the docket look like?
Say that again, because we talk about all these problems. So let's give them
None of these problems are court to cause. Once you're in, they're very helpful. I went in first. I said, where can we set up? What's the deal? And they needed to wait for the court bailiff, because I guess he's a marshal here. I don't know what they call him. So I had a confab with him about what we could do, couldn't do. There was a problem with Channel 10. They hadn't put their credential in time, so they had to scramble. We were ready to go as the only camera until he got that sorted out. And there was a ton of time. There was a lot of delay. But in terms of the docket, there were not a lot of cases. Just one case. It was a dissolution, one of those uncontested where the judge just goes through many, many issues with the wife and husband, about to be ex-wife and ex-husband. And there was an interpreter involved, but it was all Zoom. And she was back in her chambers. So we're hearing it, but there's nothing going on in the courtroom per se. Everybody is remote. So she gets that hammered out. She grants Dominic. She grants the dissolution. They're out. And then she takes a pretty good break to look at the documents that the attorneys had brought to the clerk in the interim. And I mentioned that in a post. I knew they were out there working on something. They brought the clerk their final document. Here it is. Please ask the judge to bless this. And then the judge made some tweaks, but she took time to read through that. This was all relating, remember, to the 209A, the dangerousness, 209A.
That's what I was wondering, because there's a 209A and a 209C. What's the difference, and
Right.
why was one vacated and one not?
Yeah, the 209C is the more long-term evaluation, if I could use that word. That was going to be looked at today. She said, okay, now let's look at the 209C. But as a result of the agreement between the parties and the plan going forward and the new date now on the 28th it was basically pushed off to Lawrence. And this judge, whose name I wrote down 3 different ways. I don't know if anybody has checked on it or not. It was either Albright or Ulricht or Albin. Is it Ulricht?
It's all right because Kyle Sharkey had gotten the
Kyle
document.
Sharkey?
Yeah, earlier and put the name in.
Ulricht. Like Brecht, that kind of thing.
Ulrick.
Okay.
Ulrich,
I
like
got you.
Ulrich.
I got you. Okay, so that was
something like that.
This is now on, and is that a female or a male?
Female, I believe.
It's a female. So this is all on her plate now. Everything, and that will begin on the 28th. So not next week, but the following. And at that point, some of the ugliness that has been fought about, if they don't resolve some of these things, now they've got 2 weeks to try and figure it out and play nice. It's just hard to believe. If you look at it, take a step back. All the things said by one side, all the things said by the other, especially with the Justin the alien stuff we went over last time. Hard to believe he caved as big as he did. I mean,
well, wasn't the handwriting on the wall between Judge Karp allowing Kelsey to move into her own apartment and without her mother being her shadow, and also they're not guilty? Wasn't that handwriting on the wall?
Well, you would think, but that doesn't mean somebody's going to be reasonable. Yeah, and remember that affidavit was created after the acquittal.
Right.
So it's like, what else is going to happen if you're going to convince him that you're losing, dude? So maybe it is time to play nice. And if he's smart, I mean, whatever issues they've had, whatever problems he has, he needs the help raising this kid. Give him 20, give her 80, whatever it works out to. He's over his head. He's over his head.
Yeah, he also wants her money from her house, and he also wants her not to cooperate. The fact that I think he's going back to work because he passed the 2 drug tests, so he doesn't want that interfered with, I'm sure. So,
well, think about it this way too: if he's the only one with a job, because she doesn't have a job at the moment, right? Then that's going to increase his participation in child support. That he can probably say goodbye to that massive $12 a week that he was getting, because if she's not working, he is.
I'll buy 1 cracker.
These are all battles that are going to be fought out mostly outside the presence of the public and even the court. What impact does that have? They're going to hammer out numbers. How much should you pay? And they may come up with parameters, and then the judge is going to have to pick a number. They may come up with parameters for visitation. The judge is going to have to pick a number. Whether it's supervised, whether it's not, the drug testing or not, how often, when, where, all of those little things have to be hammered out. And I suspect some of them might be addressed before the 28th, but they're coming up.
And therefore, then involvement has an interesting. What's the pretrial for then? If you're going to be dealing with all this on the motions, why do you need a pretrial?
Yeah, that's a good question. And practically speaking, you might not, but it's on the calendar. And I think, you know how it is. You're assuming all hell goes wrong, and you're plodding toward trial. But along the way, there are tons of off ramps, and maybe one happens, maybe one doesn't. Maybe the off ramp is closed, and you just keep driving toward trial. So those dates are important, but they don't necessarily dictate the outcome. All
right. So how about the tension in the courtroom? I know you saw the 2 sides.
I know I was tense. I was very tense. But
where were you seated? Well, we were tense here. We didn't have sound. Okay.
I know. I'm sorry. I wish I knew sign language. Sound. That would have been the time to step in and
I have to give credit for Kathy Russon, who we worked at Law Crime. She was following us too, and she was trying to help by telling us what was going on, because they were hooked into the 10 camera, but they weren't running a streaming. They were going to just tape it and run it later on.
Exactly.
And I said, we're probably going to use clips of that later on when you're on the show with Judge Ashley, so we can hear what happened, because they did have sound, by the way. They could hear on the first part we did. They did have sound feeding directly.
And Baz, who is the cameraman, he was so apologetic. He had no idea, because it's a pretty simple process. If he's getting VU bounce on his camera as it's recording, and all we're doing is coming out of that with a line. Logic tells you we should be getting that too. He couldn't figure it out. Here's a side note that may have contributed to the issue. They kicked Josie out of the courtroom.
Why? Because
she's 16. Because she's 16. And so she came in, and we worked together to set the thing up, and she's got it on her laptop. And so once it's up and running, she can leave, but she's not there to do any massaging of whatever's going on with the audio. And I couldn't just jump into her computer with the settings. I don't want to mess with that. So that's why we got kind of handcuffed.
So it's kind of a
we,
lesson that maybe we do have to be, people want us to be the streamer next time. I said, look, we try to work with them. They're young and they're being trained, and it's terrific. And Michael's there to back up with hopefully the microphones. And we, as Broken Baker said, we make a bigger pie together. But everyone wants you to be the streamer next time.
Well, here's the compromise we've made that up to this point has worked pretty well, and I hope it.
Right. And we love them, right?
We take the feed. We're taking the feed. We being the streamers. We take the feed from the traditional camera because he's pushing in. He's
the pool. He's basically the pool.
He is the pool for commercial purposes. We were the pool for streaming, but the camera we're using does not allow pushing in on somebody, pulling out. You can pan, but you've got a pretty wide shot you're locked into, which is what we've tried to avoid by going through the commercial camera's feed. So if we're going to just go totally independent, and ultimately that's not a bad idea, then we need to get a piece of equipment that allows us to do the same thing.
Okay.
We don't need a big commercial camera, but we need more than
the camera we have. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah.
So it could be a standalone. You're all set. You don't rely on them for anything. You put your microphone right by the speaker, as they did, and you're golden. So
okay. So we're both
13 days to work that out.
We're both as a parents in there for, we heard Justin's, I don't care about Justin's father being in there. He was there for the first one. But for Kelsey, who was there? Both sets of her parents?
Let me go down the list here. I met Steve Fitzsimmons out front. He gloated because the parking spot he got was like right in front of the church. I said, what time? Church. The court. What time? See, that's how I feel about court. I said, what time did you get here to get that spot? He said 7:30. And I'm like, it took 3.5 hours to drive this morning, and I'm not quite sure why there was the bottlenecks that I don't remember, but I'm blaming Salem. Anyway, so he was there early. The Godfather was there. Never go against the family. Godfather was there. They were still outside.
He's from Canada, right? He's from Canada?
No, he's not too far away from here, actually.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought he was from Canada.
And so then inside, already having gone in, I wanted to wait and see if Justin the Alien came in like he did last time. You remember, he was so chatty last time I addressed him. Same thing today, except I basically said, do you think 5 hours a week is enough for the mother of your child?
Oh, okay. So that's where it was. I couldn't find it because I saw it was 5 hours enough. And I was looking for the interview, and people said it's there. I said, I don't see it because I think you may need, for people like me who are a little challenged, you may need to change it like Alien Says or something like that. Okay. We need to change that.
My caption was too clever.
It was very clever, but I was like, well, it's not here.
Like 30 seconds. So, but go find it if you're curious to see him not say anything. And his dad, just like last time, he might have even had the same clothes on. So I wanted to wait and see if they arrived. They did. Nothing happened. Then I went up, and you have Lauren and Will. Will was not there. I was surprised. Unless, how could I have missed Will? I know him so well, and we always chat. So Lauren was not with Will. He probably had to work. But Lauren was as nice as ever, and we chatted for a few moments. Obviously, Steve in there. And then I'm trying to think. There were a number of supporters, familiar faces. If you saw them, you go, oh, yeah, I've seen that person here many times. The attorneys, the whole group of attorneys. Julie Hess, her partner Ryan, Tim Bradle showed up a touch late. He might have still been recovering from yesterday.
Oh, he's had a busy week. I mean, just getting out
of
bed.
Before we got started, he came over, and we were talking about yesterday, which we have decided not to really get into, but I was curious about his take since he had to suffer through it. I said, that was a nightmare. That was just unbelievable. And he agreed. And I said, if it were me, it's mutual restraining orders for the next X period of time. See you at trial. He said, he could have put that restraining order in place for a year. And we're talking about Aiden Carney and Meredith. And so he was, I said, you guys had a trial yesterday. That's what it was. And he said, yeah, I know. And he's not sure how the guy's going to decide.
Yeah.
Remember, at the end of the day, he said, this fire's got to stop. This fire's got to be ended, whatever that means.
By the way, I just changed your title. Is 5 hours enough is 5 hours enough? Does the alien speak? Okay. All right. Just so that people like us challenge.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Okay. Right.
Well, I'm glad they don't have to invest a ton of time. Either way, it's 30 seconds. Anyway, so Tim was very chatty about that, and I could, I could see he was just happy to relate the story to somebody who's been through similar, craziness in
But
court.
but you know what I said to people? I said, putting the hearing itself aside, we learned from the Johnny Depp case, it's very hard for a man to come forward and say they were abused, okay, or to show weaknesses or crying on the floor and stuff like that. And
True.
I have to say that I think it's important. And you know, one of the things I want to try to focus on if we do something about the show, which may be adjacent to what happened, is about that whole issue. By the way, Eval Mai, who asked the question about the pretrial, great question. Thank you for the donation. In my humble opinion, justice in the family with those ridiculous and outrageous demands were viewers of many YouTubers giving their opinions, hence the opening up of a can of worms caving. In other words, we have power causing them to cave.
I'm just reading it over again here. I couldn't hear that all that well. Opinion. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's why, you know, you kind of walk away going, really? He compromised on anything after the outrageous statements that he made? I mean, that's so contrary. If you believe, remember, that was a verified affidavit / motion. If you believe the things he said, how could anybody back off of that?
Right.
If you believe those things,
if you believe those things, right?
How are you backing off of that and saying, yeah, come on over, we'll work out some time to see the kid? Well, you know that it was bullshit, or at the very least exaggerated. Here's something I thought about too.
And to me, pushed by his family. Okay, I don't think by himself, who's running away from the sound of a bullet and falling on the ground, wrote all that.
And his mom has never been to I've only been to 2 hearings now at which he appeared, but I've not seen his mom support him. It's just Dad. Here's something I thought about it in the context of that, you know, sworn statement and all of the things at the bachelor / bachelorette party. Remember, everything's been talked about when you thought that she threw the Stanley Cup at one of her friends. It's the Stanley Cup. How many brides or bachelor functions like that have you ever been to where there aren't 20 people recording stuff happening?
Right.
Because it's that kind of event, right?
Right.
How do you have all of those things happening and there's not one shred of video that's been out there?
That's interesting. That really is interesting, right? Because everyone, look, we all have our spies. We were talking about our spies this morning. Okay, everyone's recording everything. And then there's cameras sometimes inside a house. Who the hell, you know? And there's other things, and also. Yep. So I don't know. You're absolutely right, but nothing has come forward unless all of a sudden we're going. If TMZ thinks this is a case, that we'll get them a lot of headlines. They'll be dropping like flies in there.
Maybe the TMZ will have a hostage letter that's somehow connected to the case. So anyway, the other thing that from the courthouse steps, Tim was uncommonly closed mouth, which is why when I approached him afterwards, I said, "Look, tell me this on or off the record, but what's happening with getting?"
Well, I just reported it. I reported on the record. I put it on X that you had.
It's now. Yeah, I confirmed he's good with that. I said, "I'm going to report this unless you tell me otherwise." But on the courthouse steps, he said, "Look, we don't want to say much. We have this big hearing coming up on the 28th." So he answered 2 quick questions, and he was like, they were leaving, and I said, one more question. I said, how does this all dovetail with what's happening on the 28th? How does what happened today? Because what I'm saying is, you guys are playing nice. Right. Why do we need the 28th? That was kind of hidden in my question. He said, well, that's why we don't want to say anything about what's to come. You know, we're done. And they literally trundled off. So
who else was there besides the family members? Because we saw a wedding, basically. I don't want to say wedding party, but we saw. I mean, Kelsey had by the way, he looked fabulous and all, but obviously, she knows what's going on behind the scenes. But we saw a huge crowd of support besides the godparents and the father. Who else was there?
And of course,
I know Lori Mullen was there.
Yes, yeah. I didn't get a chance to see her because I was packing up my stuff trying to rush outside. And when you come outside, as an aside, if you're looking at the front of the probate and family court, a hard left, just right down, not even a block, it's the next building, is the Superior Court, where we've been for other matters, right? Not necessarily this case, but other matters, and they're side by side. There were 2 crews sitting up down there. And I said, is there something else going on?
Right.
There's no way they're going through an underground tunnel. They were set up down there. We actually went and were nice and said, you guys want to come down here because this is where they're going to be. It wasn't much of a presser because they were so tight-lipped, but I didn't want them flapping in the wind at the wrong court. That would have been crazy. Yeah. Anyway,
By the way, Music to My
Courtney,
Soul donated to you, by the way. Do we know, and you can answer this after, do we know what provisions still remain in the RO?
Yeah, I didn't bring my note, but I know most of them. The one about firearms stays in place. I think that was paragraph 12.
Yeah, no firearms
so
on both sides. Does
no
that mean
firearms.
Does that mean Justin's family too?
And I'm trying to think, because virtually every one of them was changed. Paragraph 1 stayed in place, but it wasn't of substance really. It was more I think it was just a setup about the parties, who's who, where they were living.
But does that mean Justin's too? Does that mean Justin's family too? If the baby's there, it's an interesting question, Becky.
What do you
thank
mean
you
the family too?
If there's no firearms on both sides, since the baby is with Justin's family, does that mean that there can be no firearms in the
that's
family?
a good
It's
question.
a great question, Becky R.
I'd have to have the original RO in front of me because they basically left paragraph 12 untouched.
Okay.
So anybody has that one in front of them, Kyle Sharkey, you could probably, tell
yeah, Kyle.
whether that extends beyond the plaintiff and the defendant.
Yeah. Does Kelsey get to see her baby today? The answer is probably no, right?
I would say today I think would be optimistic, but it's not out of the question.
Just not out of the question.
You're Kelsey, and you've just gone through everything she's gone through.
Right.
Is today too soon? No.
No.
So you're okay. Can we work this out? Hello. Can we work this out? I have to believe that there were at least some preliminary discussions about the when and where. I just have to believe that. And it's not going to be publicized. It's not going to be, a circus. It's not going to be a spectacle. I suspect we'll hear about it after the fact, and that'll be fine with me sooner than later. I would hope.
Right. Wow. Any other? I'm sorry, Michael, I interrupted you because we have so many fabulous. Look, we have almost 5,000 people that have been watching. Everyone's been very active and staying with us through very hard parts where we didn't have any sound. We didn't know what was happening. And at one point, we lost the feed, and we didn't have we were showing the feed in the courtroom. And our loyal viewers have been fabulous here. And Lori Mullen was in the chat. She couldn't answer. I said, "Can you come into our chat?" And she said, "I can't. I'm in the courtroom." And people were just wonderful.
Yeah, it was not. This was not a tactic to get people to stick around. Let's fish them in, and no, it was not. We appreciate those that did hang with us and get technical things happen. We are learning every day, and every courtroom is different. Every, in this case, pool camera is different, and so again, once again, I'm glad we're going back to Lawrence because it was great. A couple of the supporters were not so glad because they live around here, and I said, "Sorry, parking's bad here, Wi-Fi is bad here."
It's a shorter trip for you too, right?
It is only because of the weird, because Salem is north of Boston,
right,
and it's on the water, or very near the water. Plymouth is just north of us here, and Plymouth Rock, which we've visited before.
Plymouth Pebble.
Plymouth Pebble is there. So yeah, it just takes longer to circumnavigate Boston. You want to stay away from it, right? Lawrence is also north, but further west, and so you stay out of the Boston fray. That's the key.
Yeah. Jason Grant, hi, Jason Grant, and all. I was talking to people about how they have to watch the show from last night. That when we were in these lull periods, we didn't have anything. That the Loserville T-shirt, "Welcome to Loserville," we were trying to get it, and I put up a screenshot of the show last night with the orders for denim on the First Amendment. So we did a lot of discussions.
I sprinkled those in. I tried to time them not to conflict with what we're doing here. So I think the first breakout from last night is at noon. Then there's one at 2, and then there's one at 4. And I think the one at 4 is the one where we get into Welcome to Loserville, Population U.
Yeah, Population U.
It's just so outrageous.
It's so outrageous. How about Julie Hess? Did she say anything?
Nope, she stood in the back, very quiet. We've been back and forth on text and emails. She's always very responsive, and she's also very honest when look, I can't talk about this. We've got this and this and this coming up. I can't talk about it. So I just keep bugging her, and she said she would come on.
She's come on. I want to hear Will's reaction, whether he'll come on again. Probably they'll wait until Kelsey gets reunited a little bit more. Yeah.
I mean, obviously we'll reach out, and I told Lauren today. I said, look, I hope you don't think we were pressuring you too much. If so, I apologize. When you're ready, you know where to find us. And I think Julie said she would be more open to coming on. Julie Hess, the attorney, after this hearing. So obviously she's opened that door. She may regret that because now I'm running through it, and we'll see if if she's going to be able to join us between now and the 28th. That would be great. But she may say 28th, it's huge. Let's wait and see how that goes. You know.
Yeah, and she's going to have to find papers. I mean, her papers that were due on the 22nd, now they could be due on the 27th, I gather, or any time earlier. And by the way, thank you, Mama Shark, 2257 for that donation. Everyone, you weren't around. Appreciate your time, Michael and Linda. Linda and Michael, you weren't around, but there's been so many donations for your gas fund, okay? All right, good morning.
I got the Strait of Hormuz factor here.
The Strait of Hormuz.
I got to share this. This is so crazy. There have been people, you know, doing interviews on the street with people who are maybe not as savvy about the world conditions. And this guy goes to some folks and says, I'm sure you've heard about trying to protect the Straits of Hormuz. What about the gays of Hormuz? Why are we not? And people are so dumb. They're like, that? They're saying, oh, you're right. The gays of Hormuz certainly should get protected, not just the Straits of Hormuz.
This sounds like when who's the guy from the Daily Show would go and ask different questions, right?
That's the scary thing. These people are serious. They're like, whoa, why are we protecting just the Straits of Hormuz? What about the poor gays of Hormuz? Anyway, that's an aside. So that's that. Where are we going? I forgot what else we had.
I don't know. I want our viewers to tell us because we get sidetracked. This is what we talk about, banter that we do. And Linda, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to keep us in the loop and the dead air. You're so appreciated. Thank you, Linda. So somebody got on and said, Linda basically was like, Linda, be quiet. One of the and you know we're
just listen to some dead air for just a moment, catch our breath.
or because I knew that something wasn't important, I was trying to explain what was happening. Okay,
and I was trying to, either text you or post, and it was a lot.
Oh, I know. They saw we actually had our production meetings. My phone and your and I conversation were on the air because I couldn't handle all of this. And Joy is trying to get the feeds in, and then we're having the audio issues that everyone had. Broken Baker had, everyone had it. And then our friend Kathy Russon from Law and Crime was watching, and she was. I had this whole conversation with her, right? And
we thought we had it dialed. I mean, it was touch and go in the beginning because, okay, we'll do it ourselves. The 10 guys not going to get in. He gets in, sets up. I go, oh, good. We're tapped in. We're golden. We're ready to roll. And then audio issues. So what are you going to do?
But you said yesterday when we were at 9:30 this morning and we're just about to start, and you said yesterday, if they start before 9:30, I would be really surprised. And then they started before 9:30 and it was like disaster. And I'm like, and poor Joy, Joy, everyone should give a round of applause for Joy. And Joy is just starting this, bringing all these channels and trying to find it, learning how to do this. And I'm like, we got to get the picture back up, Joy. We got to get the picture back up. And she's probably like, Joy probably, if she didn't drink, I probably caused her to drink. You know?
I think I just got her resignation letter. I don't know.
But so everyone should give a thankful, a round of applause for Joy and for Sheila, whose mug I understand is in Europe. At least it's made.
I keep looking for the address. And I was told it was sent to our JSTV email. I still haven't seen it. I don't know what to say.
Denise Noel, $9.99 towards lunch or gas. Thank you, Michael. Hopefully you'll get some lunch on the way back because we don't want you to drive hungry, especially since you got 3 hours and a half to go. You've got to, and then you have to get ready for the 6 o'clock show.
It should be easy to get ready. At least I rack up everything, and we'll go through the hearing with the judge. And there's so many questions I have for her.
And you should have the order by then, right?
Maybe. If Kyle gets on it, I don't know if they're going to release it that quickly. It was all scrawled on because the changes. First, they took the original order and crossed out a bunch of stuff, and then the judge hand wrote in some stuff because she was concerned about that 90-day automatic expiration. She was not buying that. So it's there. But the key is, and I wrote all these down. Every paragraph that has been changed, I got. So we need the original restraining order. More importantly,
I'm sure Kyle has this, and this is Gene H. Your mods are the best in the game. We think so, also. And all because we're small, but we think we're mighty. But to be even mightier, you have to hit that subscribe, share, like, and notify button, and then hype, and then you get to hype 3 videos a week. Three. Okay. I got to be careful here.
Well,
Because we are talking.
oh,
I
because
did talk about that
your
that
gang
Friday
signs.
we may by Friday we may do the way it plans now a premiere talking about the proctologist wanting to limit the opening of Discovery and Karen Reed wanting to open his proctology up a lot. Yeah. In terms of the motions, so that's on deck for Friday right now for the premiere of Friday, and then Thursday we're still working on a show which I told them may have something to do with adjacent to what we heard yesterday in terms of some of the issues, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then tomorrow we're doing Sandra Birchmore update. Right?
Yeah, all an hour. We have Mizzy, we have Barb, we have Dr. Banerjee, and we have a surprise lawyer, former prosecutor.
So, other observations before I let you go. Justin was, as you could see, if not here, very polite to the court, very forthright in how he was willing to make the changes that they all agreed upon. But when he left, it was just heads down, out the door as quickly as they could go. So I'm pretty sure he did not enjoy his day today in court. Certainly not as much as Kelsey did. So if you look who won and who lost, she won, he lost.
Well, I also think that he lost with that motion that was filed after the not guilty. It kind of gave you a persona that we didn't like seeing, and then very happy for Kelsey, she did not marry him. Okay, on it, and then then to now have to then basically retract this all, because if they're true, you're not retracting it. All right, and then you have to wonder who's behind him, who he thinks, what he's thinking like. And hopefully, since he is the father of the child and they have to work together for 18 years, they will come around and both of them will learn to work with each other. And that family wizard planner or whatever that is on your chat, their app chat.
Our family wizard. Yeah.
Family wizard. Denise Noel 43 for Chai Tea. Thank you very much. Actually, when I go out, because I do have a 2:00 meeting, and then tonight I told you I'm going to be with my client Jennifer Shahadi when she's lecturing on her new book and signing them downtown. So I am going to pass a little store that does have a strawberry chai latte.
Oh my!
I think that may go to that. Thank you, Chai Tea Latte. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
So Judge Ashley will be on tonight. It'll be very informative, I guarantee.
Somebody needs to send her the link. I think I sent her the link, but I don't remember anymore.
That because I'm driving back. I will totally forget. And then at 6 o'clock, I'll say, "Where in the hell's Ashley?"
Yeah. So, I think I did send it to her, but I won't be here. So and nor will I be here to share the breakouts you're going to be posting. So you're going to have to all of you have to look at Justice Serve TV to look at those breakouts from last night's show, because especially when you get to you have to listen to them all really to really appreciate the Welcome to Loserville.
And they're bites, they're done in like 10-minute bites. So we cut to the chase in each of those. But the third one, which I think is the 4 o'clock, that's the Welcome to Loserville. Population U.
Population U from the agitator. Well, Mr. Agitator, thank you very much. You have a long ride back, get a bite to eat. You'll probably just make it in time to get on the show. Take your time. Everybody here in the chat loves you. Couldn't wait to have you on, and we were all applauding you. And thank you for all what you do.
My pleasure. I appreciate everybody joining us, and for you holding down the fort there, partner. Good job. If we need, have you ever been in the Senate to do the filibuster? I think you could do that.
I told the story about when you were on with Karen Reed, and I had to text you and say, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to pee. All right, because I'm sitting here drinking, all this stuff for hours. It'd been like 8 hours. You have to get to the Starlink. So they kind of shared all that with me today. I mean,
I have a feeling with the comfort level we have with everybody, you could say, I'll be back. And you put
you're probably right.
You put your little icon thing, your avatar, and you go and you come back. And people be like, I get it.
Yeah. One big happy family. Justice servers. I think we should use that name more. Justice servers.
You like that? That almost sounds to me like I'm expecting some food or something. Where's my server? Where's my justice server? Okay. All right.
I don't know. You know what? Let our viewers vote. Come on, send us everything you think that we should be named. You can send it to justiceservetv@gmail.com. And then we can put it to a vote. We can put it to a poll if there's all sorts of things that we should call ourselves. All right.
All right. Then we'll have fun tonight, and we will get back together tomorrow. Everybody else, appreciate you being here. I'm going to sign off and leave the actual shutdown to you guys. All right.
Okay. So,
All
I
right,
mean, you're
then.
not going to say try to do the right thing, or I have to say that?
Oh, should I do that? I can.
Yeah, you
I
can
can.
say
I can
that.
kill
You
us
can do
off
that.
here. I can do that. Let me see if I can find the right buttons here. All right, then. And hopefully we're on our way to seeing something done the right way. Michael Bryant here in, where am I again? Salem, Massachusetts. Thanks, partner. This is JSTV. Please try to do the right thing.